Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Shall I start now? Shall I start now? आरंभ करिबा. Nobody has joined, but still I'm starting. Okay. So, you see, I am here to teach you another paper that is named as Dalit philosophy. Okay. So, when we talk about the Dalit philosophy, first of all, we all must know who are called Dalits. Okay. So, in a word, ଦଳିତ ବା ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ କହୁଛୁ ଜନଜାତି. Okay. ଜନଜାତି କାହାକୁ କହିବା? That is a first question. Then we'll move on to know about their philosophy. ତାପରେ ତାଙ୍କର philosophy କଣ ସେଟା ଜାଣିବା. So, when we talk about who is a Dalit, we must, when we talk about who is a Dalit, here we must know that Dalits are the Ab originals, or you can say the primitive people. They are the primitive people of a region, or you can say that ଯୋଉମାନଙ୍କୁ ଆମେ ଆଦିବାସୀ ବୋଲି ମଧ୍ୟ କହିଥାଉ. Okay. So you see, in India, Dalit community, they represent around 170 million, or you can say they constitute the 17% of the entire population. Okay. So to come to Odisha, Odisha रे जे देखिबा आमे 62 प्रकारर जनजाति देखि परिबा जो माने कि 74 प्रकार डायलेक्ट विषय कथा हुअंती जो माने कि टोटल पॉपुलेशन रो परसेंटेज देखिबा total population they constitute the 22.1 percentage, and they contribute for the entire population, they contribute 9.7 percentage of the entire population of India. Okay. So at least from these statistics we have certain idea regarding who is a Dalit ବା ଦଳିତ କାହାକୁ କହିବା ବା ଜନଜାତି କାହାକୁ କହିବା ବା ଆଦିବାସୀ ବୋଲି ତାଙ୍କୁ ବି ବହୁତ ସମୟରେ ତାଙ୍କର ବହୁତ ବହୁତ ନାଁ ଅଛି. ତାକୁ ଅସ୍ପୃଶ୍ୟ, ଅଛୁତ, ତାକୁ ଯେମିତି ଆମେ ଅଛେ ସବର୍ଣ୍ଣ, ଅସବର୍ଣ୍ଣ, ଏମିତି କରି ବହୁତ ନାଁ ଅଛି, କିନ୍ତୁ ସାଧାରଣ ଭାବରେ ଆମେ ତାକୁ ଆଦିବାସୀ ବୋଲି ବୁଝିଥାଉ, ଦଳିତ ବୋଲି ବୁଝିଥାଉ. ଓକେ. ସେମାନେ ଆମର ଓଡିଶା ବହୁତ ଜନଜାତି ବହୁଳ ରାଜ୍ୟ, ସମସ୍ତେ ଆମେ ଜାଣିଛେ ଏଠି 62 ପ୍ରକାର ଜନଜାତି ଆମେ ଦେଖିବାକୁ ପାଉ. So basically when we talk about the Dalit philosophy, so let us go back to the Indian roots to see that what are the myths are there regarding the Dalit. What are the myths regarding Dalit is there that we'll see if we'll go back to the, to the Rig Vedic period, particularly hymn 10.90, where you see that there is a discussion of Virat Purusha. ऋग वेद रे particularly ଆମର ଯୋଉ ଚାରି ପ୍ରକାର ବେଦ ଅଛି ତା ଭିତରୁ ଯୋଉ ऋग ବେଦ ଅଛି particularly ସେଇ ऋग ବେଦରେ ଆମର ଗୋଟେ ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷର ବର୍ଣ୍ଣନା ହେଇଛି. ସେ ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷ କିଏ ନା ଯାହାର 1000ଟା ମୁଣ୍ଡ ଥିବ, 1000ଟା ହାତ ଥିବ, 1000ଟା ପାଦ ଥିବ, ଏମିତି କରିକି ଗୋଟେ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣନା ହେଇଛି ଯୋଉଠୁ କୁହାହଉଛି କି the four ବର୍ଣ୍ଣଜ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ, କ୍ଷତ୍ରିୟ, ବୈଶ୍ୟ, ଶୂଦ୍ର, they came from that ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷ. ସେଇ ଯୋଉ ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷର ପରିକଳ୍ପନା କରାହେଇଛି ଆମର ଋକ୍ ବେଦରେ, ସେଇ ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷରୁ ଏଇ ଚତୁର୍ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଆସିଛି ବୋଲି ଗୋଟେ କୁହାଯାଏ. କେମିତି? ସେଇ ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷର ଯୋଉ ପାଟି ବା ତା ମୁଣ୍ଡରୁ ଆସିଛି ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ ବୋଲି କୁହାଯାଏ. ଯୋଉଟା ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ କ୍ଷତ୍ରିୟ ବୈଶ୍ୟ ଶୂଦ୍ର ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ କଣ କରିବ କାରଣ ସୋସାଇଟିରେ society needs all of them. Society in the society we need a Brahmin because the Brahmin will himself he will culture about the Vedic knowledge and he or she will disseminate the knowledge to others. ସେ ଆଗ କଣ କରିବ ନା ସେ ଆଗ ସେ ପଢିବ ସେ ପଢି ସାରିଲା ପରେ ସେଇ ଯୋଉ ଜ୍ଞାନଟାକୁ ସେ କଣ କରିବ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ବାଣ୍ଟିବ ସେଇ ଯୋଉ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ କଥା ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ସେ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ ଆସିଛି କୋଉଠୁ କୁହାଯାଉଛି ଯେ ସେ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ ଆସିଛି କୋଉଠୁ ନା ଯୋଉ ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷର ବର୍ଣ୍ଣନା କରାହେଇଛି ସେଇ ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷର ହେଡ ବା ମାଉଥ ହେଡ ବା ମାଉଥ ରୁ ସେ ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷ ଆସିଛି ଯୋଉଥିରେ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ ଆସିଛି ସେମିତି କୁହାହଉଛି ସେଇ ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷର ଯୋଉ ମାଇଟି ଆର୍ମସ ଅଛି ସେ ମାଇଟି ଆର୍ମସ ରୁ କ୍ଷତ୍ରିୟ କେମ୍ କ୍ଷତ୍ରିୟ କାରଣ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ କ୍ଷତ୍ରିୟ ବୈଶ୍ୟ ଶୂଦ୍ର ଚତୁର୍ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ କଥା ଆମେ କଥା ହଉ ତେଣୁ ସେ ସେମିତି କହୁଛି ସେଇଥିରୁ ଆସିଛି କିଏ ମାଇଟି ଆର୍ମସ ରୁ ସେ ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷର ଯୋଉ 1000 ହାତ ଅଛି ସେ 1000ଟା ହାତରୁ କିଏ ଆସିଛି ନା କ୍ଷତ୍ରିୟ ଆସିଛି ସେମିତି ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ତାର ଥାଇରୁ ଆସିଛି କିଏ ନା ବୈଶ୍ୟ ବୈଶ୍ୟ those who are doing business transactions those who are very much skilled for economic development ସେମାନେ ଆସିଛନ୍ତି କୋଉଠୁ ନା ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷର ଥାଇରୁ ଆସିଛି ସେମିତି ତାର any problem anyone any problem Rajit or someone like this, please mute yourself so that there will be ceaseless, no disturbance for others. Okay? Kindly do this. So you see, ସେମିତି କୁହାହଉଛି କଣ ନା from his feet ସେ ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷର ଯୋଉ ରୂପରେଖାର ପରିକଳ୍ପନା କରାହେଇଛି ତାର ପାଦରୁ କିଏ ଆସିଛି ନା ଶୂଦ୍ର who is serving all the communities. Okay? So these four burners, you can say, these four burners, they are divided into more than 3,000 jatis. Try to make a distinction. What is described, what do we mean by burna is never, it should not be interpreted as jati. Jati is something different from burna. Then ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ କଥା ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ଦେଖିବା we will go back ମୁଁ discussion କରିବି ପରେ gradually we will discuss how the you see the original Dravidians and those who are the nomadic lifestyle the Aryans how the color wise they are different skin of the color of the skin is different so that's why we talk of varnas but out of these four varnas more than you can say 300 jatis then and the lowest one is the untouchable okay is it clear to all of you so from the you see initially we have the four burners and out of the four burners more than 300 jatis that came into existence and in this 3000 ladder you see of the jatis you see the lowest rung is that of the untouchables ବା ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ ଅସ୍ପୃଶ୍ୟ ଅଛୁତ ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ ଆଦିବାସୀ ଏମିତି କରିକି ଯୋଉ different ନାଁ ସବୁ ତାକୁ ଦେଇଛି so they particularly untouchables they stand outside the caste and social structure of the Indian people altogether so these untouchables you can say so they stand outside the caste system or outside the social structure of the Indian people. Okay. So you can say the in a way you can say this is just like the as you know the different parts of the bodies that has to do its functions. Similarly, you can say in the society each member has to do his or her role. So there is nothing low and nothing higher, you can say. We cannot say that by simply by doing some action, simply by adopting a particular profession, one cannot belong to a higher class. Similarly, when one is providing service to others, thereby one becomes untouchable. So we cannot make a demarcation like that because nothing is low or nothing is higher. Okay. So therefore, we can say what is described in the Purusha Sukta of the Rig Veda, that is simply a myth. ଏପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଯୋଉ କହୁଥିଲି ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷ, ସେ ଯୋଉ ବିରାଟ ପୁରୁଷର 1000ଟା ମୁଣ୍ଡ 1000ଟା ହାତ, ଯୋଉଥିରେ କି ଚତୁର୍ବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଆସିଛି, ସେଇ ଚତୁର୍ବର୍ଣ୍ଣରୁ ଜାତି ଆସିଛି, ଏ ସବୁ ଗୁଡା ବିକଜ our understanding, our intellectual way of interpreting the thing that indicates that no profession is high and no profession is low. Similarly, therefore we can say that what is described in the Purusha Sutta, that is simply a myth. Okay. So you can see that in the early prehistoric India, you can see the those who lived in that early prehistoric age, they are dark skinned people. ଯୋଉମାନଙ୍କୁ ଆମେ ସାଉଥ ପଟେ ବେଶୀ ଦେଖିଛେ, ଯୋଉମାନଙ୍କୁ ଆମେ କହୁଛେ କଣ ନେଗ୍ରିଟୋଜ ବୋଲି ଯୋଉମାନଙ୍କୁ କୁହାହଉଛି, ଯୋଉମାନଙ୍କର ୟୁଜୁଆଲି ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ଦ୍ରାବିଡିଆନ ବୋଲି ବି କୁହାଯାଏ। ସେମାନଙ୍କର ସ୍କିନ୍ ଟୋନ ଦେଖିବ, ସ୍କିନ୍ ଟେକ୍ସଚର ଯଦି ଦେଖିବା ଆମେ, ତ ଦେ ଆର୍ ଡାର୍କ ସ୍କିନ୍। ତେଣୁ ଅରିଜିନାଲ inhabitant of India, they are they are dark skinned. Then came the Australoids, to which belong our Xanthalas and whales. ତେଣୁ ସେଇ ଯୋଉ ନେଗ୍ରିଟୋଜ ପରେ ଯୋଉ ଲୋକମାନେ ଆସିଲେ, ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ଆମେ ଗୋଟେ କ୍ଲାସିଫାଏ କରିଛେ କେମିତି, ଆଜ ଅଷ୍ଟ୍ରାଲଏଡ୍ସ, ଯୋଉମାନଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ସାନ୍ଥାଳ, ଯୋଉ ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ସାନ୍ଥାଳ, ଭିଲ୍, ସେଇଗୁଡାକ ସେଇ କମ୍ୟୁନିଟିର ଲୋକମାନଙ୍କୁ ଆମେ କଣ ଦେଖୁଛେ, ସେଇ ଯୋଉ ଆମର ଯୋଉ ଅଷ୍ଟ୍ରାଲଏଡ ଭିତରେ ଦେଖିପାରୁଛେ। ତାପରେ ଯୋଉ ଲୋକମାନେ ଆସିଲେ, ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ କୁହାହଉଛି ମଙ୍ଗୋଲଏଡ୍ସ। ମଙ୍ଗୋଲଏଡ୍ସ ମାନଙ୍କୁ ଆମେ ୟୁଜୁଆଲି ଇଣ୍ଡିଆର ନର୍ଥ ଇଷ୍ଟ ରିଜିଅନରେ, ଯୋଉ ସେଭେନ ସିଷ୍ଟର ଯୋଉ ରିଜିଅନ ନର୍ଥ ଇଷ୍ଟ, ସେଇପଟେ ଆମେ ପ୍ରାୟ ସେଇ ଲୋକମାନଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖୁ, ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ମଙ୍ଗୋଲଏଡ ବୋଲି କୁହାଯାଏ। So the largest group of these early inhabitants, they were the Dravidians, or you can name them as Adivasis. ସେଇ ଯୋଉ early prehistoric ଯୋଉ Indian originals, aboriginals, ବା ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ଯେ ଯୋଉମାନେ ହଉଛନ୍ତି ଆମର early inhabitant, they all are, you can say they all were Dravidians, or we name them as Adivasis. Okay. So different research work is going on in the late philosophy, and a particularly a scholar whose name is Goetz, Goetz. Goetz, he says that Dravidians have links with Sumeria. Sumeria is another country, Dravidians, they have links with Sumeria, and you can say that Sumeria ko ଆମେ କହୁଛେ କଣ, earliest bed of civilization. So they belong to, they have a connection. The original inhabitants of India, they are the Dravidians, and they have a connection with the Sumeria. Okay. Aryans, they migrated to India through Afghanistan and enslaved the dark-skinned aboriginals and discriminated them. So gradually, because initially man has not a fixed house, you go to the iron age or you go to the stone age, then you see they had a nomadic lifestyle. କେମିତି ନା ଯେତେବେଳେ ବହୁତ ଖରା ହଉଥିଲା, ସେ ଜଙ୍ଗଲ ଭିତରେ ଗଛ ଭିତରେ ରହୁଥିଲା। ଯେତେବେଳେ ବର୍ଷା ଦିନ ହେଇଗଲା, ସେ କଣ କଲା ଦେଖିଲା ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଉଚ୍ଚା ଜାଗା ଯୋଉ ବର୍ଷା ପାଣି ମାଡି ଆସିବ ନଦୀ ବଢି ସେ ଭାସିଯିବ ତ definitely because the nature is not congenial, he has not developed mind, so he has not arranged. Now we see a beautiful arrangement where we are living in, but at that time that facility was not there, so they had a nomadic lifestyle, and out of that nomadic lifestyle the Aryans ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ ଆର୍ଯ୍ୟ ବୋଲି କହୁଛେ Aryans they migrated to India through Afghanistan and they enslaved all those dark skinned Dravidians. Okay. And they by that they discriminated them. So you can say here you can say Varna, it originally refers to the color of the skin, particularly Aryans, they are fair, they are wheaty skinned or white skinned, and the Dravidians, they are dark skinned people, and this Varna gradually it takes the shape of caste. Okay, so gradually, originally it was Varna, and gradually it takes the shape of the caste. But when we talk about Dalit philosophy, we must look into some evidence, some literal evidence. Let's try to see. ଯେମିତି ଆମର ସବୁ ରିଲିଜିୟସ୍ ଟେକ୍ସଟରେ ଆମେ ଦେଖୁଛେ ଯେମିତି ଆମେ particularly ରାମାୟଣରେ ଦେଖିବା ମହାଭାରତରେ ଦେଖିବା ଛାନ୍ଦୋଗ୍ୟ ଉପନିଷଦରେ ଦେଖିବା ଋଗ୍ବେଦରେ ଦେଖିବା so I will start from the Vedic age. So Rig Veda, which dating from 1500 BC to 1000 BC. Here BC means, yeah, I think you all must be knowing what is BC before Christ. So from Rig Veda, it's dating from 1500 BC to 1000 BC, which mentioned about the four varnas only. So there is no mention of the outcast or untouchables or asavarna or achut. This sort of distinction was not at all there. So no evidence of untouchables, no evidence of Dalit you can find out in the Rig Vedic age. Okay. But the Veda has gradually, the Veda, Veda has two parts. One is the Karma Kanda and another one is the Jnana Kanda. And the Jnana Kanda part is known as the Upanishads. So, and there are 10 or 11 principal Upanishads are there. So, in one of the Upanishad, which is named as Chandogya Upanishad, you see, there are mention of some upper caste or which is compare and this upper caste and there is a comparison of the outcast to a dog or a pig. So there is some reference, literary evidence of untouchables you can find from the Upanishadic period. In the Vedic period, particularly in Rig Veda, there is no evidence, no support. But in the Upanishad Bhaga, you see, particularly in the Chandogya Upanishad, you see there is a mention of some upper caste, and those who are looking at the lower caste as dogs or as pigs. Okay, there is in the 10.7, there is the mention of this. Again, coming to our age of Ramayana, you see, Ramayana in the time of Ramayana, you can say outcast Shudras, they were not allowed to undertake meditation. They are not allowed to because it is the task of Brahmins. So they are not allowed to undertake penance or meditation. If anybody is found engaging in this sort of activity, immediately he will be beheaded by the king. ସାଙ୍ଗେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ତାର ମୁଣ୍ଡ କାଟ କରାଯିବ କାରଣ ଏଇଟା ହଉଛି ସେମାନଙ୍କର cup of tea ନୁହେଁ. They are not allowed to practice what the Brahmins are supposed to do. Okay. So in the there is some literary evidence you can find in the Ramayana in the time of Ramayana. Similarly, in the time of Mahabharata, you see there are very explicit evidence, you can literary evidence you can find in Mahabharata in the character of Ekalavya. Okay, in the character of Ekalavya, you see, even in the character of you can say Karna, you also find out. that lower caste or outcast thing is there. So Ekalavya, because you see, Ekalavya wants to learn the art of archery. धनुर्विद्या से ଶିଖିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଥିଲା and he want to make Dronacharya his guru, but Dronacharya did not accept him the as his disciple, and finally, he has to sacrifice the right thumb, the right thumb as a punishment to the guru. That story but here you can find out some sort of evidence in the Mahabharata period, even in the life of a Karna, because Karna was fostered by his parents, and his parents belong to lower community. So for that, he has to face so many humiliations that are very much discussed in the Mahabharata period. So we know that there is these are the evidences we can talk about in favor of Dalit. So when we talk about particularly Dalit, they have different names, as you know. In I think in the Bhagavad Gita, it is named as Varna Sankara. So they are named as Varna Sankara, or you can even why Varna Sankara, because they are treated as inferior even to subhumans. ଅଛୁଆଁ ବୋଲି ତାଙ୍କୁ କୁହାହଉଥିଲା, ତାଙ୍କୁ untouchables ବୋଲି କୁହାହଉଥିଲା, ତାଙ୍କୁ ଅସବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବୋଲି କୁହାହଉଥିଲା. So they are deprived of the basic things that we need in our life. They are deprived of education. They are deprived of, you can say, all forms of, they have to face all forms of humiliation, ill treatment, and they are discriminated. If that Asavarna is a lady, so she is doubly or squarely discriminated. Okay, so they are not allowed to learn in the school system where the um, where the um, other students from the other varnas, they are there, so they are deprived of education, or you can say that all sorts of ill treatment are given to them. They are humiliated, like even they are treated as subhumans. Okay, so you see, when we talk about the particularly Dalit philosophy in Indian scenario, always, Bhim Rao Ambedkar, B.R. Ambedkar, he will always be flashed in our mind, because it is Ambedkar who faced all these sorts of uh, these sorts of humiliation in his life, in his real life situations. କାରଣ ସେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ସ୍କୁଲରେ ପାଠ ପଢିବାକୁ ଯାଉଥିଲେ, ଯଦି ତାଙ୍କର ଲାଇଫ ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ପଢିବେ ଆପଣ ମାନେ ଦେଖିବେ, ତାଙ୍କୁ କଣ ହଉଥିଲା, ଯୋଉଠି ପିଲାମାନେ ବସୁଥିଲେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କଠୁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଗୋଟେ ଅଲଗା ଜାଗାରେ ଦୂରରେ କରି ବସା ହଉଥିଲା। ଆଗରେ ସ୍କୁଲରେ ସବୁ ଥାଏ ମାଠିଆରୁ ପାଣି ପିଇବା ପାଇଁ, ସେ ମାଠିଆରୁ ସେ ପାଣି ପିଇ ପାରିବେନି କି ତାକୁ ଛୁଇଁ ପାରିବେନି, ରେଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ସନ୍ସ were there. So you can but you see, uh, that untouchables, that ill treatment to a community, particular community, to a particular group of people in the Indian society, it is first raised by Mahatma Gandhi. And he said that he preached against untouchables, and he renamed them as Harijana. ସେ ତାଙ୍କୁ କଣ କହିଲେ ନା, they are no, these are derogatory words, ଏଗୁଡା ସବୁ ଅପଶବ୍ଦ, ଆମେ ଏମିତି ଶବ୍ଦ ସବୁ କହିବା ନାହିଁ। ଆଦିବାସୀ ଏଟା ଗୋଟେ ଡେରିଗେଟୋରୀ ୱାର୍ଡ, ଅସବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଏଟା ଗୋଟେ ଡେରିଗେଟୋରୀ ୱାର୍ଡ, ଅଛୁଆଁ ଏଟା ଗୋଟେ ଡେରିଗେଟୋରୀ ୱାର୍ଡ। ଆମେ ଏମିତି ଶବ୍ଦ ବ୍ୟବହାର କରିବା ନାହିଁ। ଆମେ କେମିତି ଶବ୍ଦ ବ୍ୟବହାର କରିବା ନା, ତାଙ୍କୁ ହରିଙ୍କର ଜନ, they are the children of the god, so he named them, he just renamed the Adivasis or the Dalits as Harijana. Okay. So, but the Harijanas, they prefer to be called as Dalit, because because the very word Dalit it is derived from the root word dal. Dal means broken or scattered or cruised or destroyed. So actually they are deprived of all the facilities. They are deprived, they are not treated equally with others, so they are exploited, they are discriminated. So you can say that, so therefore they prefer to be named as not as Harijana but as Dalit because they feel that they are scattered, they are broken, they are destroyed, and they are exploited. So you see, in the history of India, you see that even the Jyotirao Phule, jahanka naare Bartaman Pune University is named after Jyotirao Phule. So, he is a Marathi social reformer. He used the outcasts as broken victims of our caste-driven Indian society. So, Phule, ସେ କଣ କହୁଥିଲେ ନା these are the broken victims, these are the exploited victims of our caste-driven Indian society. Okay. So, further, you can say this implies that they were one whole, human, and they are free. There is some agent that reduced them to this oppressed and degraded condition. So, when we talk about Dalit or when we talk about human being as such, they are no doubt all are the members of the community. They are one whole, all are human, all have autonomy or all have freedom, but there is some agent who is playing a mysterious role and reduce them to the suppressed, degraded condition. So you can say they. So you see, they are named as ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ କୁହାଯାଉଥିଲା କଣ ନା ଦାସ, ଭୃତ୍ୟ, ଇଭେନ୍ ତାଙ୍କୁ ବି କୁହାଯାଉଥିଲା ରାକ୍ଷସ, ଏମିତି ବିଭିନ୍ନ ନାଁ ତାଙ୍କର ସବୁ ଅଛି। Different parts of the India, they are named differently. ତାଙ୍କୁ ଦାସ ବୋଲି କୁହାଯାଉଥିଲା, ରାକ୍ଷସ ବୋଲି କୁହାଯାଉଥିଲା, ଅସୁର ବୋଲି ବି କୁହାଯାଉଥିଲା, ଅବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ବୋଲି କୁହାଯାଉଥିଲା, ଚଣ୍ଡାଳ ବୋଲି ବି କୁହାଯାଉଥିଲା। So there are different names. So, um, as per the scheduled caste of India, 1935, they all the different 170 million people, they are listed by a subgroup named as scheduled caste or scheduled tribe. ଯାହା ବି ଆପଣ କୁହନ୍ତୁ. They are named as scheduled caste. Okay. So, though constitutionally Adivasi name is banned, or these derogatory names that is completely banned, but it is still, you know, prevalent as a social reality. ଏବେ ବି ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ଅସ୍ପୃଶ୍ୟ, ଏବେ ବି ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ଅଛୁତ, ଏବେ ବି ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ଅଛୁଆଁ, ଗୋଟେ ଗାଁ ଭିତରେ ଗୋଟେ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ ଗାଁ ଭିତରେ ଦିନରେ ଯିବା ପାଇଁ ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ଅଧିକାର ନାହିଁ। So these are the still they are discriminated, still they are deprived of the basic fundamental rights, still they are treated unequally. So you can say that though it is constitutionally it is banned, but still it remains as a social reality. Okay. So you know that when we particularly talked about um, the talked about Dalits, and Dalit, when we talked about Dalit religiosity, that they are deprived of reading Sanskrit language. They are not allowed to enter into temples. And ଯୋଉଥିପାଇଁ କି ଆମ୍ବେଦକର 5 ଲକ୍ଷ ଲୋକଙ୍କୁ ନେଇକି ନାଗପୁରରେ ସେ କଣ କଲେ ଏମ୍ବ୍ରେସ କଲେ କାହାକୁ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଜିମ୍ କୁ because in Buddhism there is no caste, even in Buddhism there is no untouchability. ଯେତେବେଳେ ପ୍ରଥମେ ଆମ୍ବେଦକରଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ଦଳିତ ୱାଇଫ ବହୁତ କମ ଏଜରେ ମରିଗଲେ ତାପରେ ସେ ଜଣେ ଗୋଟେ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ ପ୍ରଫେସର ଅଫ ଦ ପୁନେ ୟୁନିଭରସିଟି ତାଙ୍କୁ ମ୍ୟାରେଜ କରିଥିଲେ ବଟ୍ ଫାଇନାଲି ହି ଏମ୍ବ୍ରେସ୍ଡ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଜିମ୍ ତାଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ମହାରାଷ୍ଟ୍ରର 5 ଲକ୍ଷ ଲୋକଙ୍କୁ ନେଇକି ସେ କଣ କଲେ ନାଗପୁରରେ particularly Nagpur area se Buddhism ko embrace karte. So you see, so when we talked about this Dalit and Dalit free movement, it was launched in the year 2002. Okay, whose focus is only to transform all the villages. Okay, and particularly they targeted in the year 2002 Dalit Free Movement. When it is launched, it targeted 1,000 villages, and gradually, thereby we can see there is a change. It takes place in due course of time, but not all of a sudden, gradually. So, you see, initially it is not the case that it is uh, only you see in India, even our nearby countries, like you can talk about Nepal, you can talk about Pakistan, you can talk about Sri Lanka, even in Bangladesh, this is also happening. So because they are deprived, they are treated unequally, they are deprived of their fundamental rights. So you can say that they are discriminated, and because they are not getting proper education, so definitely there will be some financial automatically because if they will be deprived, ତେଣୁକରି ତାଙ୍କର financial problem, unequal problem, uh, automatically it will be there. So you see there is a debate that happens between Gandhi and Ambedkar, taking into account these untouchables, and Gandhi or Dalit, there is a debate କାରଣ ବହୁ ଜିନିଷ ଗାନ୍ଧୀଙ୍କର ଆମ୍ବେଦକର ପସନ୍ଦ କରୁନଥିଲେ କି ଆମ୍ବେଦକରଙ୍କର ବହୁ ଜିନିଷ ଗାନ୍ଧୀ ବି ପସନ୍ଦ କରୁନଥିଲେ ପର୍ଟିକୁଲାରଲି ଗାନ୍ଧୀଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ କି ଗାନ୍ଧୀ ଦଳିତ ମାନଙ୍କୁ କୋଉ ଦୃଷ୍ଟିରେ ଦେଖୁଥିଲେ ଯେ ହିନ୍ଦୁ ସେମାନେ ହିନ୍ଦୁ and he was favoring caste system କାରଣ ସେ କହୁଥିଲେ ଯେ ମାନେ ସେ କେବଳ ସେ କଥା ବି କହୁନଥିଲେ ତା ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ବି ଗାନ୍ଧୀ ତା ବୋଲି ହିନ୍ଦୁଇଜିମକୁ ପ୍ରମୋଟ କରୁନଥିଲେ କାରଣ ଗାନ୍ଧୀ କହୁନଥିଲେ ଯେ ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ ସବୁ ରିଲିଜିଅନ ପାଇଁ କି ମୋର ଗୋଟେ ସମଭାବ ଅଛି ବୋଲି ବି କହୁନଥିଲେ ସେକୁଲାର ଟୁୱାର୍ଡସ ଅଲ ରିଲିଜିଅନ ସେ କଥା ବି ସେ ମନା କରୁଥିଲେ ସେ କହୁଥିଲେ ସର୍ବଦର୍ଶନ ମମ ଭାବ ମାନେ କଣ ନା ସବୁ ରିଲିଜିଅନ ଗୁଡାକ ହଉଛି ମୋର ରିଲିଜିଅନ ତେଣୁ ସେ କୋରାନ ବି ପଢୁଥିଲେ ଭଗବତ ଗୀତା ବି ପଢୁଥିଲେ ସେଇ ଅନୁଯାୟୀ କି ସେ ହିନ୍ଦୁ ସ୍କ୍ରିପଚର୍ସ ଯାହା ଅଛି ତାକୁ ବି ପଢୁଥିଲେ ତେଣୁକରି ବାଇବେଲ ବି ପଢୁଥିଲେ ତେଣୁ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଗାନ୍ଧୀଙ୍କୁ ଖାଲି ଏମିତି କହିଲେ ହବ ନାହିଁ ଯେ ଗାନ୍ଧୀ ଦଳିତ ମାନଙ୍କୁ କହୁଥିଲେ they are Hindus and by favoring caste system, but that is something lamented against Gandhi by Ambedkar. କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମ୍ବେଦକର କଣ କରୁଥିଲେ he was suggesting that his people must find liberation outside Hinduism. So kହୁଥିଲେ nahi everybody has autonomy, everybody has dignity to pursue, everybody is free to pursue any religion. So he suggests his people, his followers, that they must find liberation not within Hinduism, rather outside Hinduism. ଯୋଉଥିପାଇଁ କି ସେ କଣ କଲେ ଯେ ଗୋଟେ ଅଲଗା ପାର୍ଟି ଫର୍ମ କରିଥିଲେ ତାଙ୍କର ସେମିତି ସେଥିପାଇଁ ସେ those who are working for the freedom ଯୋଉଥିପାଇଁ ସେ 5 ଲକ୍ଷ ଫଲୋଅର ମାନଙ୍କୁ ନେଇକି ବୁଦ୍ଧିଜିମ୍ ଏମ୍ବ୍ରେସ କଲେ ଲାଟର ପିରିୟଡରେ କାରଣ ତାଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ବୁଦ୍ଧିଜିମରେ କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ କିଛି ନଥିଲା ଓକେ ସୋ ଦେୟାର ଇଜ ନୋ ହାଇ ଦେୟାର ଇଜ ନୋ low regarding the profession. Similarly, you can see the ଯୋଉଥିପାଇଁ କି ଆମେ ପରବର୍ତ୍ତୀ ସମୟରେ ସବୁ କଥା ହେଲେ ଦଲିତ ଫ୍ରିଡମ ବା ଦଲିତ ଏମାନ୍ସିପେସନ. So that again, as I have already told you, we can find some literary evidence for Dalit. Similarly, we can see the Dalit folklore and its cultural expressions. Folklore ମାନେ ଯୋଉଟାକୁ ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ଲୋକଗୀତ ବୋଲି କୁହାଯାଏ. ଯୋଉଥିରେ ଦେଖିବ ଆପଣ ମାନେ usually if you have visited any Dalit village, you see ତାଙ୍କର ଆର୍ଟ ର ଗୋଟେ ଷ୍ଟାଇଲ ଅଲଗା. ସେଥିରେ ଆର୍ଟ ର ଷ୍ଟାଇଲ କେମିତି ଥିବ ନା ସେ ଯୋଉ ମାନେ ଧାନ ଗଛ ଲଗେଇଛି, ଧାନ ଫଳ ହେଇଛି, ତାକୁ କାଟିକି ସେଗୁଡା ସବୁ ତାଙ୍କର ଆର୍ଟ ଏକ୍ସପ୍ରେସ ହଉଥିବ. ଯେମିତି ସେ ଯାଉଛି ଶିକାର କରିକି କୋଉ ଆନିମଲ କୁ ଆଣୁଛି, ତାର କିଏ ଟୋଟେମିକ କିଏ, ତାକୁ ସେ ମାରିବ ନାହିଁ. ଏଇଗୁଡାକ ତାଙ୍କର ସବୁ ୟୁଜୁଆଲି ତାଙ୍କର ଗୀତରେ ବି ଥିବ. ତାଙ୍କର ଗୀତରେ ବି ଦେଖିବେ ସେ ଯୋଉ ସ୍ତ୍ରୀ ଲୋକମାନେ ଗୀତରେ ଯାଇକି ଧାନର ଜମିରେ ଧାନ ଗଛ ପୋତୁଥିବେ, ସେଠି ସେମାନେ କେମିତି ତାଙ୍କୁ କେମିତି ସେମାନେ ବାଇ ଦ କଣ ସେଟାକୁ ଶବ୍ଦ କୁହାଯିବ, ବାଇ ଦ ରିଚ୍ ପିପୁଲ ହାଉ ଦେ ଆର୍ ଏକ୍ସପ୍ଲଏଟେଡ୍, ସେଟା ବି ତାଙ୍କ ଗୀତରେ ସେ କାମ କରୁଥିବେ, ସେ ଗୀତରେ ସେଟା ସେମାନେ କହି କହିକି ତାଙ୍କ କାମ କରୁଥିବେ. So you can say that their folklore, it consists of legends, it consists of music, or it consists of oral history, when you can say proverbs are there, beliefs are there. Similarly, fairy tales are also there, and their customs that are which is in their tradition, that is there in the folklore. ତାଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ମାନେ ଯୋଉ ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ଲୋକଗୀତ ଯୋଉଟା କହୁଛେ, ତାଙ୍କର ସେଥିରେ ମାନେ ତାଙ୍କର ଡେଲି ଏଭ୍ରିଡେ ଲାଇଫଷ୍ଟାଇଲ ର everyday transaction with others, with nature, everything is reflected in their folklore. So you can say that the folklore, it is the set of practices through which these teachings are shared. Okay, through folklore, they are sharing the. You can say nowadays we are talking more and more about Indian knowledge system. ଭାରତୀୟ ଜ୍ଞାନ ପରମ୍ପରା ବିଷୟରେ ଆମେ ବହୁତ କଥା ହଉଛେ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମର କିଛି ଏମିତି ମୌଳିକ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସ ଥିଲା, ଇଣ୍ଡିଜେନସ୍ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସେସ୍ ଥିଲା, ଯୋଉଟା କି ଗ୍ରାଜୁଆଲି ସେଟା ଲୋପ ପାଇଗଲାଣି. କିନ୍ତୁ ସେ କହୁଛି କଣ ନା ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଫୋକଲୋର, ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସ, ଏଇଥିରେ ସେମାନେ କଣ କରୁଥିଲେ, ଦେ ସେଟ୍ ଦ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସେସ୍ through which the teachings are shared. Okay, so you can say the folklore, it validates a culture or transit cultures, transit cultural morals or virtues to the next generation through music or through dance form or any other you can say cultural forms. So there is here we can broadly make a distinction between what is a Dalit culture and what is a non-Dalit culture. Okay, so here we can make the distinction between, because broadly, there is a we talk about the Dalit, and definitely you know that Dalits have a culture, and there is a difference between culture and civilization that I must make here. Culture ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି ସଭ୍ୟତା, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି ସଂସ୍କୃତି. ଓକେ, ସଭ୍ୟତା କଣ ମାନେ what we say talk about civilization. Civilization is what we have. ଆମ ପାଖରେ କଣ ଅଛି, ମୋ ପାଖରେ ଆଣ୍ଡ୍ରଏଡ ମୋବାଇଲ ଅଛି, we are civilized. ମୋ ପାଖରେ କଣ ହଉଛି 12 ତାଲା 20 ତାଲା ଅଛି, we are civilized. ମୋ ପାଖରେ କଣ ରହୁଛି ମାନେ ଏମିତି ସବୁ ରିମୋଟ ସେନ୍ସିଂ ଜିନିଷ ସବୁ ଅଛି, ସାଙ୍ଗେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ମୁଁ କଣ କରୁଛି ତାକୁ ୟୁଟିଲାଇଜ କରିକି I can do wonders. So that is my civilization. But what is a culture? Culture is what we are, not what we have. ଆମର କଣ ଅଛି କଣ ନାହିଁ ସେଇଟା ଆମର ସଂସ୍କୃତି ନୁହେଁ. ଆମେ କଣ, ଆମର ଚାଲିଚଳନ କହିବ ଆମେ କଣ, ଆମ that is our culture. How we treat a prisoner of war, how we treat a woman, how we treat a divyang, that is our culture. So this is the basic difference you can talk about what is a culture and what is a civilization. So Culture is basically, we can say culture is what we are. It includes everything, our food habit, our lifestyle, our clothing, our dress sense, everything is included in the culture. But when we talk about civilization, it always talks about how scientifically and technologically advanced I am. That depends upon my civilization. So basically, there is a distinction between you can say between a Dalit culture, and there are other people, because Dalits, they constitute only the 25% of the Indian population, and the rest is named as non-Dalit. So there is you can make a distinction between Dalit culture and the non-Dalit culture. Okay. So the Dalit cultures, you can say that broadly, I can say in the Dalit culture there is matriarchal. Dalit culture is matriarchal. Similarly, you can say you can say the non-Dalit culture is patriarchal. Okay, so in India, usually we see two opposing cultures having different value systems. They can coexist, they can be there side by side. Okay, so the when just a minute, मुझे पानी पी- So you see, when we talk about because here in this paper we are talking about India in general, and when we talk about India's mainstream culture, we always refer to non-Dalit culture. Okay, because I have already told you 25% of the population, they are Dalit. So definitely our mainstream culture will never be a Dalit one. Rather, it will be, you can know, it will be a non-Dalit one. Okay. So when we talk about the Dalit culture and the non-Dalit culture, I can make this sort of difference that the non-Dalit culture, they are more masculine, whereas the Dalit culture, they are feminine. Because if we say the original inhabitants are the Dravidians, ଆଉ ଯୋଉମାନେ କି ଆମର they are dark skinned, ଯୋଉମାନଙ୍କୁ କି ଆପଣ ସାଉଥରେ ଦେଖିବେ, ଆଉ ପର୍ଟିକୁଲାରଲି କେରଳାର ଯୋଉ ପେରିୟାର ଫ୍ୟାମିଲି, ସେଥିରେ ଆପଣ ସବୁବେଳେ ଦେଖିବେ ମାତୃକେନ୍ଦ୍ରିକ ପରିବାର। କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମର ଯୋଉ 75% ଯୋଉମାନେ ରହିଲେ ନନ୍ ଦଲିତ ପିପଲ, ନନ୍ ଦଲିତ culture, usually it is masculine. Okay, so if the distinction is based on this masculine and feminine, so definitely the object of worship is in the non-Dalit culture is God in the name of Father, and in the Dalit culture it is Bhagavati, or you can say they worship the Mother Goddess. Okay. Similarly, and there is a very good book, Almanac. Okay. So in that book, there is a, great, ethical thinker, particularly uh, environmental ethical thinker, who says that the tribals, they do not possess lands, rather lands possesses them. You see, it just make a difference. ଯେ ଆମେ କଣ କହୁଛେ ନନ୍ ଦଲିତ ପିପୁଲ କଣ କହୁଛେ ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ଯେ ମୋର ଏତେ ଜାଗା ଅଛି କିନ୍ତୁ ସେମାନେ ସେଇ ପ୍ରକାର ଜିନିଷ କହିବେନି ସେମାନେ ରାଦର କହିବେ lands possesses them which is written in the book by almanac the book is there and it is written there so you see the Dalit people, they give importance on eye, darsana, they give importance on darsana or drishti bhangi. Similarly, the non-Dalit people, they give importance on hand service. And Dalit culture, they encourage some dance forms. Dancing is very, they give pivotal role to dancing forms, mandala and moon. Similarly, in the non-Dalit culture, you see, we take sky to be the limit. We worship sun, and we just appreciate the thing that is vertical. So we definitely we do not worship yoni, just a mandala. Rather, we see we worship lingam. Okay, so these are the basic distinctions. I do not go into because this will be you can find it in your uh, actually uh, in your book that is shared by the IGNU. So I will rather I will say that the Dalit, when we talk about the Dalit culture, that Dalit culture, the basic element of any cultural expression, you can say, it is either in the form of myth, or it is there are rituals, or you can say there are objects. So the cultural, when we talk about how the culture is expressed, the culture is expressed, the basic elements involved in a cultural expressions are either the myths or the rituals or the objects. Okay. So all the things, these three things, that is the myth, the ritual and the objects, they are interlinked behind, because behind every ritual and a symbol, definitely there is a myth, and that determines the personality trait and is determining the behavior pattern of a person. So the myth influences the behavior, and that behavior, or the you can say that influence or determines the personality trait, and it is also determining the behavior pattern of a person. ଯେମିତି ଆମେ ଛୋଟବେଳୁ ଆମର ଯୋଉ ମିଥ୍ ଗୁଡା କୁହାହେଇଥିବ ଆମ ପାଖରେ ସେଗୁଡାକ ଏତେ ଇନଗ୍ରେଣ୍ଡ ହେଇଯାଇଥିବ ଯେ ଆମେ ତାକୁ ହିଁ ମାନିକି ଆମର ମାନେ we take these all these myths as real or reals. So you can say, what is a myth? Myth is a belief which has no rational foundation, or you can say that myth is a belief which has some irrational foundation. So it is a story which is capable of producing different shades of emotions. It creates our imaginations. So when we talk about Dalit culture, that is full of myths, and the people are gifted with richness of imagination. Okay, just you imagine, even you talk about Ramayana, you talk about Mahabharata, these are full of imaginations. Just think of a monkey who is Hanuman, who is so powerful. ତାଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଡଟାକୁ କେହି ଉଠେଇ ପାରିଲେନି, ଭୀମ ଭଳିଆ ଏତେ ବଡ ଯୋଦ୍ଧା ହେଇକି ବି ତାଙ୍କ ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଡକୁ ଉଠେଇ ପାରିଲାନି। ସେମିତି ଯୋଉ ତମେ ସେମିତି କହିବ ଯେ ଗୋଟେ ଜଣଙ୍କର ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଡରେ ଯାଇକି ତା ନିଆଁ ଲଗେଇ ଦେଇକି ସିଏ କଣ କଲା, ଚାରିଆଡେ ନିଆଁ ଲଗେଇକି ସ୍ୱର୍ଣ୍ଣର ଲଙ୍କାକୁ ଧ୍ୱଂସ କରିଦେଲା। ବା ୟୁ କ୍ୟାନ୍ ଥିଙ୍କ ଅଫ ରାବଣ, ରାବଣ ଯୋଉ ବିମାନ ବ୍ୟବହାର କରୁଥିଲା, ସେଟା ହଉଛି ଗୋଟେ ପୋର୍ଟେବୁଲ ଯୋଉ ଯାନ ସେ ବ୍ୟବହାର କରୁଥିଲା, ଯୋଉ ପୁଷ୍ପକ ବିମାନ ବୋଲି ଯାହା କୁହା ହୁଏ, ସେଟା ହଉଛି ପୋର୍ଟେବୁଲ। ଯଦି ସିଏ ଥିବ ଏକୁଟିଆ ସେଟା ଛୋଟ ଥିବ, ଯଦି ବହୁତ ଲୋକ ଥିବେ ଆକର୍ଡିଙ୍ଗଲି ସେ ବଡ ହେଇଯିବ। ୟୁ ସି full of it is not only myths, you cannot say that it is only a myth, rather along with that the people are gifted with full of imaginations. Okay, so on the other hand, in the non-Dalit culture, you do not see any emotional content. Do not see, because they are reduced to mere stories alone. The myths contain mainly the oppressive values. ତେଣୁ ସେଥିରେ ସେମାନେ so individualistic non-Dalit culture. There is no emotional content. There is no, there is no community feeling. There is no group dance. But you see, it just show me any dance form of the Dalit culture, you talk about Dhamsa or anything else, I don't know, I am not recalling now, any dance form you see, 20, 40, 50. They believe in group, they believe in community feeling. So their culture is loaded with all emotional contents. But on the other hand, in case of non-Dalit culture, you do not find out that emotional content, and they are simply the myths are reduced to mere stories alone. Okay, so and what that myth contains some oppressive values only. Okay, so when we talk about myth, myth is related to symbol. A symbol points to something other than itself and participate in the represented reality. So you can say that a symbol expresses a myth in a wider sense. So there is a relation between myth and a symbol. What a symbol does, a symbol simply expresses a myth in a wider sense, and that symbol points to something other than itself and participate in the represented reality. ଯେମିତି ତମେ ଦେଖିଥିବ ସେ ଗୋଟେ particularly ଗୋଟେ sound produce କରିବ, ସେ sound କୁ ତାର ଲୋକମାନେ ତାକୁ interpret କରିକି ଜାଣିଦେବେ ଯେ someone is in danger or someone is in a good mood and trying to draw the attention of the others. So uh, you can say the symbols of the Dalit culture, they are rich with animals and plants taken directly from nature. ତାଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ symbol ଥିବ ଆପଣ ଜାଣିଲେ ବହୁତ ଆଶ୍ଚର୍ଯ୍ୟ ହେବେ. That is a practice in our Odisha Dalit community. ସେମାନଙ୍କର ଜଙ୍ଗଲକୁ ଯିବେ, they are very poor people, that you know. ସେମାନେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଜଙ୍ଗଲକୁ ଯିବେ ଶିକାର କରିବା ପାଇଁ, ସେ ଗୋଟେ ଧର ଗୋଟେ କଣ ଶିକାର କରିବି ସେ ଜଙ୍ଗଲରେ, କଣ ତାଙ୍କର ଇନକମ ସେଥିରୁ, ସେ ଟିକେ ମହୁଟେ ଆଣିକି ବିକିବ, ଗୋଟେ ଚଢେଇର ଅଣ୍ଡାଟାକୁ ଆଣିକି ତାକୁ ରଖିକି ଫୁଟେଇକି ଚଢେଇଟାକୁ ବିକିବ, ନହେଲେ ଆରାରୁଟ କଲେକ୍ସନ କରିବ, ଏତିକି ହଉଛି ତାକୁ ଆଣି ବିକିଲେ ସେ 2 ପଇସା ପାଇବ। ତେଣୁ ସେ ଧର ଗୋଟେ ଜଙ୍ଗଲକୁ ଗଲା ଆଉ ଦେଖିଲା ସେଠି ଗୋଟେ ଉପରେ କଣ ହେଇଛି ନା ଗୋଟେ ମହୁ ଫେଣା ଅଛି। ତେଣୁ ସେ କଣ ଭାବିଲା ମହୁ ଫେଣା ତ ଏକୁଟିଆ ନିଜେ କଲେକ୍ଟ କରିପାରିବନି, 2-3 ଜଣ ଲୋକ ଦରକାର। ସେ ପୁଣି ଗାଁକୁ ଫେରିକି ଆସିବ, ଲୋକ ଯୋଗାଡ କରିବ, ଯିବ ତାପରେ କଲେକ୍ଟ କରିବ। ସେ ଯୋଉ ଆସିବା ଭିତରେ ସେ କଣ କରିବ, ଗୋଟେ ଫ୍ରେଶ ଡାଳଟେ, ଗୋଟେ ଗଛର ଡାଳଟେ ଭାଙ୍ଗିକି ସେ ଗଛ ତଳେ ପକେଇଦବ। ଆଉ ଯୋଉ ଆଦିବାସୀ ଜଣକ ଯିବେ, ଦଲିତ ଯିଏ ଯିବେ, ସେ କଣ କରିବେ, ଦେଖିବେ ସେ ଡାଳଟା ପଡିଛି, ସେ କଣ କରିବେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ସାଙ୍ଗ ଆଗକୁ ଯିବେ, ସେ ସେଇଟାକୁ ଆଟେମ୍ପ୍ଟ। ନନ୍ ଦଲିତ କଲଚରରେ ୟୁ ଜଷ୍ଟ ସି ଦ ଅପୋଜିଟ। କଣ କେମିତି ଅପୋଜିଟ ନା, ଦେଖିବେ ଆପଣ ସେଠି ଫ୍ରେଶ ଡାଳ ପଡିଛି ମାନେ ଏଇ ଗଛରେ କଣ ଗୋଟେ ଅଛି, ତାକୁ ବିକିଦେଲେ ମୁଁ ପଇସା ପାଇବି। ତେଣୁ ଯୋଉ ଲୋକ ବାହାର କରିଛି ସେ ଆସିବା ଆଗରୁ ମୁଁ କେମିତି ନେଇକି ପଳାଏ। This is the mindset of the non-Dalit culture. But you see on the contrast, on the contradictory, you see what is the mindset of the Dalit culture or the Dalit people. Okay. So you can say that the symbols they use to express their myths, they are only about their either in the form of animals or in the form of plants taken directly from nature. So you can say Dalit culture, it gives importance on some animal life forms and plant life forms. On the other hand, the non-Dalit culture, they give importance only on birds, only on birds, and they give importance only individual, never about collective. They give importance only inward, and on the other hand, the Dalit people they give importance on the outward activities, particularly nature. So, the color that dominates Dalit culture is red and yellow, while it is blue and white in non-Dalit culture. A survey report that shows that usually ସେମାନଙ୍କର culture ଯୋଉ dominate କରେ କଣ ନା Dalit culture, ନା ତା ଭିତରେ ସେଥିରେ ପ୍ରାୟ ସେମାନଙ୍କର red ଆଉ yellow ଦେଖିବାକୁ ମିଳେ। नॉन दलित कल्चर रे ब्लू आउ व्हाइट देखने को मिले. So the rituals they are doing, the rituals are for the Dalit people, they are culturally defined sets of behaviors. The what is a ritual? ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ଓଡ଼ିଆରେ ତାର କଣ କହିବା, rites and rituals. ତ କିଛି ritual କଣ ନା, this is nothing but a defined set of behaviors. This is called the rituals. And when we talk about a particularly, we talk about a culture, we know that there are some frozen rituals. Frozen rituals माने जो ritual टा repeatedly बहुत थर हो जाइए, और जे कि आउ माने there is no emotion as it is. So that is called a, you can say that is called as a ritual, or you can, because it is repeatedly it is done, so it becomes a cult. Okay, but the static religious performance, it can be included in the category of cult. So repeatedly, ଯେମିତି ଗୋଟେ ତାଙ୍କର festive season ଆସିବ, festive season ରେ ଯାହା ଯାହା ritually ସେମାନେ rituals କରିବେ, so that becomes their practice, that becomes their culture. Okay, so there are frozen rituals are there. Similarly, there are real rituals are there. ମୁଁ କହିଛି ଆଗରୁ frozen ritual କଣ ନା, it is static, it is more repetitive action, but in case of real rituals they are dynamic in the sense of embodying the agonies and aspirations of the performing society. Okay, so they are जोटाको ଆମେ କହୁଛେ real ritual, that is dynamic, because every time it is representing the hope of the society, it is representing the agonies and aspirations of the continuing society. So therefore, it is a real ritual. So when we talk about rituals in the Dalit culture, it can be either frozen ritual or it can be real rituals. Okay, so you can say that this there are certain differences we have to make so that we can have a better understanding about the Dalit rituals. The first distinction here we want to make is that ritual inversion and ritual affirmation. Ritual inversion and ritual affirmations that we here we want to make. Okay, so that that ritual, to have that ritual inversion and ritual affirmations, we have to understand two things. One is life crisis ritual and another one is calendrical rituals. Usually calendrical rituals ମାନେ କଣ, ସେ କହୁଛି ଗୋଟେ particular culturally defined points ରେ, ଯେମିତି seasonal cycle, ଗୋଟେ ମେରିଆ sacrifice ତାଙ୍କର ହୁଏ, ତାପରେ ତାଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ ପୁଷ ପରବ ହୁଏ, ତାଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ ଆମ୍ବ ମାନେ ଆମ୍ବଟାକୁ ଏମିତି ଆମେ ମାନେ କଣ କରୁଛୁ, ନନ୍ ଦଲିତ କଲଚର ବାଲା କଣ କରିବେ, ଲୋକମାନେ କଣ କରିବେ, ଯୋଉ ସମୟରେ ମାର୍କେଟରେ ଆମ୍ବ ଆସିଲା ତାକୁ ଖାଇଦେବେ, ସେମାନେ ସେମିତି ଖାଇବେନି. There is a festival, after that only they will take am. So am parab is there. Similarly, Pusa parab is there. So these are the seasonal cycles, you can say, the where the you see the groups or categories of persons who habitually they exercise certain rituals authority over their superiors. Okay, so usually they do certain things by by taking a supersede role regarding the rituals over the superiors. जोटा कि आमे कहूचे कण, से रिचुअल को आमे डिस्क्राइब करछे एज रिचुअल ऑफ स्टेटस रिवर्सल. रिचुअल के करबा कथा गोटे ब्राह्मण करबा कथा बा कोन, किंतु सेठी कोन सिमाने करिवे, सो जोथि पे कि ताको कोआ होची रिचुअल्स ऑफ स्टेटस रिवल्सन. ओके, ଆମେ ତାକୁ ଓଲଟେଇ ଦଉଛେ, ସେମାନେ କରିବା କଥା ନୁହେଁ କିନ୍ତୁ ସେମାନେ କରୁଛନ୍ତି. ଓକେ, ତ ଯୋଉଥିରେ ଆପଣ ମାନେ ଦେଖିବେ ସେ ଯୋଉ ରିଚୁଆଲ ଷ୍ଟାଟସ ରିଭଲସଲ ରେ ଆପଣ ଦିଟା ଟ୍ରେଟ୍ କ୍ୟାରେକ୍ଟର ଟ୍ରେଟ୍ ଦେଖିବାକୁ ପାଇବେ। କଣ ନା ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା ସେମାନେ କଣ କରିବେ ନା ଗୋଟେ why they are doing these rituals because by that they try to practice a democratic egalitarian type of life. Okay, ସେଇଥିରେ ସେମାନେ କଣ କରିବେ ଗୋଟେ ଇଗାଲିଟେରିଆନ ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ସମାନ ସୋସାଇଟି ବା ସେଟଅପ୍ ସୋସିଆଲ ସେଟଅପ୍ ବା ସମାନ ପ୍ରକାରର ଲାଇଫ ଇଗାଲିଟେରିଆନ ଟାଇପ ଅଫ ଲାଇଫ ଦେ ୱାଣ୍ଟ ଟୁ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟାଇଜ। ତେଣୁକରି ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ତମର ଷ୍ଟାଟସ ରିଭଲସଲ ରିଚୁଆଲରେ ଦେ ୱାଣ୍ଟ ଟୁ ସି ଦେ ୱାଣ୍ଟ ଟୁ ଶୋ ଦିସ୍ କ୍ୟାରେକ୍ଟର ଟ୍ରେଟ୍ that is they try to practice egalitarian society. And second character trait that you will see, they try to develop an unconscious rebellion within themselves for the unjust social setup. କାରଣ ହଜାର ହଜାର ବର୍ଷ ଧରିକି they are deprived of many things. ଗୋଟେ ଜାଗା ଯିବା ପାଇଁ ରାସ୍ତା ନାହିଁ, ସେ ଜାଗାକୁ କେହି ଯିବେ ନାହିଁ। 5 ବର୍ଷରେ ଥରେ ଇଲେକ୍ସନ ହେବେ, ଯୋଉମାନେ ଆଶାୟୀ ପ୍ରାର୍ଥୀ ସେମାନେ ଯିବେ, ତାପରେ ଆଉ 5 ବର୍ଷ ଯିବେ ନାହିଁ। ଯୋଉ ଅଣ୍ଡର ଡେଭଲପଡ ସିଚୁଏସନ ଅଛନ୍ତି ସେମିତି ସେମାନେ ପୁଣି ପଡିକି ରହିବେ। So there is definitely in an unconscious state there is a rebel. What is that rebel? Because of this unjust social setup. ତେଣୁ ଯୋଉ ମାନେ ସୋସାଇଟିର ସୁପିରିୟର ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ନ ମାନିକି ଯୋଉ ଷ୍ଟାଟସ ରିଭର୍ସାଲ ରିଚୁଆଲ କରନ୍ତି, ସେଥିରେ ଏଇ ଦିଟା ଆମେ ଲକ୍ଷଣ ଦେଖିବାକୁ ପାଉ। ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି କଣ their aim is to establish an egalitarian type of life, and second one is there is an unconscious rebel within themselves for the unjust social setup. Okay, so that we find in our in the you can say in all the tribal or you can say Dalit community. Okay, so so you see ଯେମିତି ଆମର ଗୋଟେ ଅଛି ଧର suppose we in our community we have a practice. Suppose ଗୋଟେ ଦୁର୍ଗା ପୂଜା ହଉଛି, ଗୋଟେ ମା ଦୁର୍ଗାଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ ମୂର୍ତ୍ତି ତିଆରି ହବା ଆଗରୁ ସେଟା କଣ ହବ, ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରଷ୍ଟିଚ୍ୟୁଟ ର ଦୁଆର ମୁହଁରୁ ସେ ମାଟି ଆସିକି ଅନୁକୂଳ ହେଲେ ତାପରେ ମୂର୍ତ୍ତି ତିଆରି ହବ। ଯେ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସ ଦ୍ୟାଟ ଏଗେନ୍, କାରଣ ଆମେ କଣ କରୁଛେ ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ଆଉଟକାଷ୍ଟ କରିଦେଇଛେ, ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ଡୁ ନଟ୍ ଟ୍ରିଟ୍ ଆଜ ଏ ମେମ୍ବର ଅଫ ଦ ସୋସାଇଟି, ବଟ୍ ବାଇ ଦ୍ୟାଟ we are trying to take their goodwill, we are trying to accept with kind-heartedness their position, their status. So you can, in that way, you can understand the ritual status reversal. It is a ritual, କାରଣ ତା ଦୁଆରୁ ମୋର ମାଟି ଆସିବ, ଇଟ୍ ଇଜ ଏ ରିଚୁଆଲ, ପୂଜା ହେଇକି ଆସିବ। ତେଣୁ ଏଠି କଣ ହଉଛି ମାନେ ସୁପିରିୟର କମ୍ୟୁନିଟି ସୁପିରିୟର ଲୋକଙ୍କ ପାଖକୁ ନ ଆସିକି ଯୋଉମାନେ ସୋସାଇଟିରେ ଯୋଉମାନଙ୍କୁ ଆମେ ବାଛନ୍ଦ କରିକି ରଖିଛେ ଗୋଟେ ସାଇଡ ଟ୍ରାକ୍ କରିଦେଇଛେ, ସେଇମାନଙ୍କ ପାଖରୁ ଆସିକି ଏଇ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡା ହବ। ତେଣୁ ସେଇଟାକୁ ଆମେ କହୁଛେ କଣ ରିଚୁଆଲ ଷ୍ଟାଟସ ରିଭର୍ସାଲ ବୋଲି ତାକୁ କୁହାହଉଛି। So it has two aim, it has two objective. ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି କଣ, ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି the practice of an egalitarian life, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି there is an unconscious rebel within the unjust society. Okay. On the other hand, in case of the non-Dalit culture rituals, there is affirmation of their status symbols. Okay, there is affirmation of their status symbols. As you know, ଯେମିତି ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ଯୋଉମାନେ ସବର୍ଣ୍ଣ, ଯୋଉମାନେ ଧର ସପୋଜ ବ୍ରାହ୍ମଣ ବୋଲି କହିବା ତାକୁ ସବର୍ଣ୍ଣ, ତାଙ୍କର ଟେମ୍ପଲ ଆଫର୍ମେସନ ଅଛି, they have a they have a status of the priestly class. So there is a, you can see there is a, we here we make a clear distinction between a pujari and a devotee by dress code। ସେମାନଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ଡ୍ରେସ କୋଡ ମନ୍ଦିରକୁ ଯିବ, ସେମାନଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ଡ୍ରେସ କୋଡ ଥିବ ସେଟା ଆମ ମାନଙ୍କର ସେଇ ଡ୍ରେସ କୋଡ ୟୁଜୁଆଲି ନଥାଏ। So that we can make a clear cut separation in the non-Dalit community or in the non-Dalit culture rituals. But that sort of separation, discrimination, you do not find in Dalit culture rituals. Okay. The second point of difference you can say it is about liminal of Dalit culture ritual. Liminal, Liminal, liminal of Dalit culture ritual versus permanency of non-Dalit culture rituals. Okay. So the word liminal, what do we mean by liminal? Liminal means a situation of license during which anything can take place because all norms are relaxed. ଏମିତି ରାତି 9ଟା ବେଳେ ଆପଣ ମାନେ ଗଲା ବେଳକୁ ଦେଖିବେ ଟ୍ରାଫିକର ଆଉ ରୁଲ ନାହିଁ। ଯିଏ ଯେମିତି ଚାହିଁବ ସିଏ ସେମିତି ଯାଇପାରିବ। ସେମିତି ସେ liminal ମାନେ କଣ କହୁଛି? It is a situation of license during which anything can take place because all norms are relaxed. କିନ୍ତୁ ଦେଖିବେ ଏଇ liminal practice ଗୋଟେ ଦଳିତ culture ritual ରେ ଅଛି ଯୋଉଥିରେ କି ତମେ ଦେଖିବ that is completely absent in non-Dalit culture rituals. କେମିତି ଦେଖ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ଗୋଟେ particularly ମୁଁ ଭୁଲି ଯାଉଛି ଓଡିଶାର ଗୋଟେ tribal community ଅଛି ଯୋଉଠି ତାଙ୍କର ଅଛି ତାଙ୍କର ଅଛି କଣ ନା they encourage self choice marriage. ଆମର ସେଲ୍ଫ ଚଏସ୍ ମ୍ୟାରେଜ କରିପାରିବନି ବାପା ମା ଗୋଡା ଗୋଡି କରିକି ଯେମିତି ପଞ୍ଜାବ ରାଜସ୍ଥାନ ସେଠି ସବୁ ହଉଛି ସେମାନେ କଣ କରିବେ ପିଲା ପୁଅ ଝିଅ ଦି ଜଣଙ୍କୁ ମାରିଦେବେ ଯେମିତି ଯାହା ହଉ ବିକଜ for the to keep the name and the fame of the family high ସେମାନେ କଣ କରିବେ ଜେହାଦୀ ନା କଣ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଅଛି ସେମାନେ ତାକୁ ମାରିଦେବେ ସବର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଅସବର୍ଣ୍ଣର ଫିଲିଙ୍ଗସ ରାଜସ୍ଥାନ ପଞ୍ଜାବ ହରିୟାଣା ତ ତାର ଗୋଟେ ବ୍ରାଇଟ ତାର ଗୋଟେ କଣ ତାକୁ ତାକୁ ହନି ହାଇଟ୍ କୁହାଯିବ ସେ ଗୋଟେ ସେମିତି ଜାଗା ଯୋଉଠି ଏଇ ସବୁ ଗୁଡାକ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସ ବହୁତ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ଟଲି କରାହୁଏ ଜାତି ପ୍ରଥା ଟା ବହୁତ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ଟଲି ସେ ଜାଗା ଦେଖୁଛି ଗୋଟେ ଆମର ଓଡିଶାର ଗୋଟେ କମ୍ୟୁନିଟି ଟ୍ରାଇବାଲ କମ୍ୟୁନିଟି ଅଛି ଯିଏକି ଏନକରେଜ କରେ ସେଲ୍ଫ ଚଏସ୍ ମ୍ୟାରେଜ ଗୋଟେ କୋଉ ମାସର ଗୋଟେ ଦିନରେ ସେମାନେ କଣ କରିବେ ରାତି 12ଟା ପରେ ଯେତେ ସେ ଘରର ସେ ଗାଁର ବୁଢା ବୁଢୀ ଥିବେ ସେମାନେ ରହିବେ ଘର ଭିତରେ ଯେତେ ୟଙ୍ଗ ମାସ ମାନେ ଯୋଉମାନେ ବାହା ହବା ବୟସ ହେଇଯାଇଥିବ ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ସବୁ ବାହାରକୁ ଛଡା ହେଇଯିବ they will spend the entire night so this is the liminal situation usually କିଏ ରାତି 12ଟାରେ ଛାଡିବନି କିନ୍ତୁ ଗୋଟେ ସିଚୁଏସନ ଆସିବ ଯୋଉଥିରେ there is license during which anything can take place because all norms are relaxed ତେଣୁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଛଡା ହେଇଯିବ ତାପରେ ସେମାନେ ତାଙ୍କର ଗାଇବେ ନାଚିବେ ସବୁ କରିବେ ତାପରେ ଯୋଉ ପୁଅ ଝିଅ abscond କରିଗଲେ ସେମାନେ 2-3 ଦିନ ଧରି ଗାୟବ ହେଇଯିବେ ତାପରେ ଆସିଲେ ସେମାନଙ୍କର ମ୍ୟାରେଜ that is a practice ଆମେ ସେଥିରେ କିଛି କହିବାର ନାହିଁ but that sort of practice ତମେ କଣ କରିବ you will never see in a non-Dalit culture ritual okay so the next point of difference is ludic of Dalit culture ritual against rigidity of non-Dalit culture ritual. Ludic ମାନେ କଣ ନା playful nature. This is ଗୋଟେ ମିନିଟ ପାଟି ଚୁପି ଯାଉଛି। ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ludic Dalit culture ludic ମାନେ playful nature, humorous nature ଯୋଉ ଆମେ କହୁଛେ କଣ ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ଏମିତି ଗୋଟେ ଜଣେ କଥା କହିବ ଯେ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ସେ ହସେଇବ ଯେତେ ମାନେ ଡିଭୋଟି ଅଛନ୍ତି ଯେତେ ଇନଭଲଭ ହେଇକି ଅଛନ୍ତି ସେ କମ୍ୟୁନିଟିରେ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ହସେଇବେ ଦେଖୁଛି ନନ୍ ଦାଲିତ କଲଚର କୌଣସି ସେଲିବ୍ରେସନ ରେ ଏଇ ପ୍ରକାର ଜିନିଷ ଦେଖିବ ନାହିଁ ଦେ ଆର୍ ନଟ୍ ଲିବେରାଲ ଦେ ଆର୍ ନଟ୍ ପ୍ଲେଫୁଲ ଦେ ଆର୍ ନଟ୍ ହ୍ୟୁମରସ୍ ରାଦର they follow the celebrations are followed with a rigidity very rigidly they follow all the principles so any spiritual person of non-Dalit culture definitely rigid person the more unemotional one the more socially acceptable he becomes ତେଣୁକରି ସେ କହୁଛି କଣ ନା ଯେମିତି ତମେ କହୁଛ ଗୋଟେ particular community ର ଗୋଟେ particular celebration ରେ ତମେ ଦେଖିବ ଜମା playfulness is silence means silence, utter silence. You cannot talk. Okay, so they are very rigid, but that sort of rigidity you will not found in Dalit culture ritual. Okay, so when we talk about this Dalit culture, that reflects the social processes. Okay, that reflects the community living, that reflects the change in the social organization in the ritual celebrations. Okay, so you know they are you see they are a little bit liberal, whereas in case of the non-Dalit um, culture ritual, they are only individualistic. So, you see, ସେ କହୁଛି ଦଲିତ କଲଚରରେ କଣ ହଉଥିବ ନା କେମିତି ଡେକୋରେଟ ହବ, ସେଲିବ୍ରେସନ ଟା କେମିତି ହବ, କୋଉ ମ୍ୟାଟେରିଆଲ୍ସ ୟୁଜ ହବ ଫର ମେକଅପ୍, ଫର ଡେକୋରେସନ, that are affected by the rapid social change. ଆଗ କାଳରେ ସେମାନେ ଡ୍ରମ୍ ବିଟିଂ କରିକି ନାଚ କରୁଥିଲେ, ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ସେମାନେ ଡେକ୍ ଲଗାଉଛନ୍ତି ବା ଆଉ ଯାହା ଯାହା ଆପଣଙ୍କର ନୂଆ ନୂଆ ମଡର୍ନ ମ୍ୟୁଜିକ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଥିବ ତାକୁ ସେମାନେ ୟୁଜ କରୁଛନ୍ତି. So they are very much prone to the social change. They are very much, and there is, it is nothing unusual. Whereas, on the other hand, in case of non-Dalit cultural ritual, it is not, it do not correspond so much to the social change. And you see, uh, they are, they are very much fixed at one point of time. ଆଉ ଯୋଉଥିରେ କି ସେମାନେ ସେଇଆକୁ ରିପିଟ କରି 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 ଚାଲିବେ, ଯେମିତି ରିପବ୍ଲିକ ଡେ ର ସେଲିବ୍ରେସନ ଧର ଆମ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରିରେ ରହୁଛି, ସେଟା କଣ ରହୁଛି? ଦ୍ୟାଟ ଇଜ ଭେରି ଷ୍ଟାଟିକ। ଇଏ ଆସିବ, ସେଇଥିରେ ଗେଷ୍ଟ କେବଳ, ସେଇଥିରେ ଚିଫ ଗେଷ୍ଟ କେବଳ ତମର ହେଇପାରିବେ ପ୍ରାଇମ ମିନିଷ୍ଟର। ଆଉ ଯିଏ ଆସିବ ତାର ଫଲୋ କେମିତି, କାହାର ଗାଡି ଆଗରେ ଯିବ, କାହାର ଗାଡି ପଛରେ ଯିବ। We rigidly very follow it in a process. So we do not think of adopting any change in it. So that is the practice in case of non-Dalit culture ritual. Whereas on the other hand, in case of Dalit, it is very much accommodative. They are very much used to the social change, and so that they will adopt new social processes. So the next difference to, because here we are trying to analyze the Dalit culture ritual. So here you can say that the Dalit culture rituals, they are designed in such a way that they create a crowd, they create a group effect in the performer as well as in the participants. ଚାରି ପାଞ୍ଚ ଜଣ ଭଲ ଗୀତ ଗାଉଥିବେ, ଆଉ ସମସ୍ତେ କିନ୍ତୁ ତାଙ୍କର ଗୀତର ତାଳେ ତାଳେ ଅଣ୍ଟା ହଲେଇକି ପାଦକୁ ପାଦ ପକେଇ ନାଚୁଥିବେ। So it is about you can say that they are designed in such a way that will create the community feeling. But the Dalit culture rituals, they are, particularly ତାଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ଫେଷ୍ଟିଭ ଗୁଡା ହେଇଥିବ ତା ଭିତରେ କେତେ ଯେ ସ୍ଲିପଲେସ୍ ନାଇଟ୍, the shortest celebration takes 24 hours minimum. କିନ୍ତୁ on the other hand, ତମେ ଦେଖ ନନ୍ ନନ୍ ଦଲିତ କଲଚର ରିଚୁଆଲରେ ସେମାନେ ଘଣ୍ଟେରୁ 2 ଘଣ୍ଟା ଭିତରେ ଆଉ ତାଙ୍କର କିଛି ସେଲିବ୍ରେସନ ଆଉ କରିପାରିବେ, ମାକ୍ସିମମ୍ ଘଣ୍ଟେ ନହେଲେ 2 ଘଣ୍ଟା, ଏମିତି ଦିନ ଦିନ ଧରିକି ଡ୍ରମ୍ ବାଜୁଥିବ, ଗୋଟେ ତମର ନାଚ ଚାଲିଥିବ, ତା ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଯାହା ତାଙ୍କର ଅଛି ଖାନା ପିନା ଚାଲିଥିବ, ସେମିତି non-Dalit culture people, they cannot spend like their culture in that way. So in that way, you can say they are very much rigid in their approach regarding the celebrations. So when we talk about the values of the Dalit life, folklore, and the cultural expressions, so a particular sociologist, he made a distinction between the values of Dalit culture and the values of the non-Dalit culture. Okay, so the when we talk about the values, basically the values will be of the socio-economic values, and in the particularly in the Dalit culture, The values are nothing but the it gives importance. The prime importance is given to the person. Okay, the person in relation with the persons or the community or the group or the society. Okay, because the for them there is no other. The so-called other is a friend for them. So there is a person is given importance along with other persons because for them the other is a friend. But when we talk about non-Dalit culture, the value system is only private interest, only private property, only individual well-being, and here the other is a rival, the other is an enemy. You see the different socio-economic value pattern. If you will analyze, if you will check point wise, then you see that for them, for the tribal, for the Dalit, the other is a friend, but here the other is an enemy. Okay. Secondly, you can say there is cooperation. We always find out in case of which is said to be the very core value of the Dalit culture. That is no competitions. You will never find competitions. Rather, you can find the cooperation with one another. They all want to develop at the same time, and everybody is happy with the goodness of the other, with the well-being of all. And you can say there is no aggression, there is no competition. Rather, there is love and compassion among all of them. There is love. They want, if somebody, if my neighbor, what we see in the non-Dalit culture, we see that in the non-Dalit culture, if I see my neighbor has a good car, I become envious. But if I belong to a Dalit one, if my neighbor will have a good car, I will be more happy with this. So you see, there is no aggression, there is no competition, rather there is cooperation in the values of Dalit. On the other hand, there is only competitions, only there is aggression, or you can say that there is that you will find out in the non-Dalit community or non-Dalit culture. Then another point we can talk of that is freedom, that is that autonomy or that freedom, it is realized in and through every person, not by the elimination of some members. So here in the Dalit community, we see that we do not eliminate, we do not treat anyone as our enemy. Rather, we treat everybody at par with ourselves. So we give autonomy to all. We give freedom to every person. But here you see, freedom is the possibility. On the other hand, in the non-Dalit ritual culture, we see that freedom of the high caste is only to exploit the Dalit. Here we are only, we are only, we are only. तुम्हें तुम्हें ना देखो ସେ ଯୋଉ ହରିଶଙ୍କର ହଁ ସେ ତାକୁ କହିବେ ତାକୁ ତାକୁ କହିବେ so you see so when we talk about the freedom, on the other hand, the freedom is the here in the non-Dalit ritual culture. When we talk about the freedom, that is used only to express the Dalit and nothing else. Okay, so this is the basic difference. Similarly, we can make a difference between equality, taking equality into account, and in the Dalit community, we take equality and justice as the basic social order. But here, in case of non-Dalit, we take inequality as the basis of the social order. Okay, so here we take in the non-Dalit community we take distinction, that is racial distinction, regional distinction, religion-wise distinction, language-wise distinction, and the birth to a particular family distinction. that we take as permanent only. But in case of Dalit culture, we recognize talents. Okay, talents are recognized. Even we give respect. We even you can say the the Dalits, they do not, even they do not enjoy the they do not take the advantage of that talented person. That anyone who is talented, only his talent will be recognized and he will enjoy whatever is assigned to him. But after his death, the survival members, they are not going to take any benefit out of it. So there is equality and justice, but here inequality and injustice are the social order. Similarly, you can another way you can say that we give in the Dalit culture rituals, quality is given more importance than the quantity. But here, quantity is given more important rather than the quantity. Okay, so the Dalit in the Dalit community, we know that there is a need because these people are socio-economically, socially and economically poor. And socially they may be very rich, but economically or financially they are poor. So there is need, and to fulfill their need, they have to depend upon nature. But in case of non-Dalit community, we see their needs are artificially created. ଆଜି କଣ ହବ ନା ମାଲଗୋଦା ଆଜି ପିଆଜର ରେଟ୍ 200 ଟଙ୍କା ହବ। ତେଣୁ ଇଟ୍ ଇଜ ଟେକେନ୍ ଏ ଡିସିସନ, ତେଣୁକରି ମାଲଗୋଦାମରେ ମାର୍କେଟକୁ ଛଡାଯିବନି, ସବୁ ଅଣ୍ଡରଗ୍ରାଉଣ୍ଡ କରାହେବ। ଅଟୋମେଟିକାଲି ରେଟ୍ ଟା ବଢିଯିବ। So it is artificially created. So the needs are artificially created, and but in case of the Dalit community, needs are very spontaneous. And coming to apart from that socio-economic values, there is also religious values that play very major role in making the distinction between Dalit and non-Dalit. And basically, when we talk about Dalit community, they and they worship feminine qualities that dominate. They worship Mother Earth, ତାକୁ କଣ କହନ୍ତି ସେମାନେ, ଗୋଟେ କହନ୍ତି କଣ, Mother Earth କୁ धरती पेनु, something like this. So they worship Bhagavati. Particularly, they worship goddesses, and they give importance on earth and earth deities, Dharni Penu, and particularly they celebrate their religious functions with food and dance. You can on the other hand, when we see the non-Dalit culture regarding the religious values, you know that there is a dominating quality that is the masculine because they do not worship goddess. God is playing a very crucial role. God is dominating, and here they do not in the religious functions. Just as you know, in the Dalit community, they love dance. Dance is the form of worship, but here standing or sitting is the form of worship, you can say. So the way we celebrate our religious functions in the Dalit community, there is a long celebration of the religious functions, and a congregation is high. ଲୋକମାନେ ବହୁତ ଲୋକ ଏକାଠି ଆସିକି ଠିଆ ହୁଅନ୍ତି. But here in case of the Dalit, non-Dalit, short celebrations, okay, and there is no congregation, at least you can say there is only the family members will be there. Okay, so you can, in this way, you can make a distinction between the 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 uh, cultural aspects of both Dalit and non-Dalit people. Okay, so and when we talk about, because to the cultures are best expressed in the, particularly the Dalit culture are best expressed in the folklore. Folklore means what? ଯୋଉଟା ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କୁ ମୁଁ କହିଛି ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ କହିବା କଣ ନା ଲୋକ ଗୀତ ବୋଲି କହିପାରିବା, ଯୋଉଥିରେ କି ଆମର କଣ ହଉଛି ତାଙ୍କର ଦଳିତ କମ୍ୟୁନିଟି ସେମାନଙ୍କର କଲଚର ଏକ୍ସପ୍ରେସନ ସେଥିରେ ରହୁଛି। So, particularly when we do talk of Dalit, Dalits are the children of the soil, and they find different ways of expressing their identity through folk arts and classic arts in oral and written forms. ଗୀତରେ ସେମାନେ ଯେମିତି କହିଲି ମହାଜନ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଯୋଉ ଠକୁଛି ତାଙ୍କୁ ଯୋଉ ଅତ୍ୟାଚାର କରୁଛି ତାକୁ ସେ ଯୋଉ ସ୍ତ୍ରୀ ଲୋକଟି ସେ କଣ କରୁଥିବ ଧାନ ଗଛ ପୋତିଲା ଭିତରେ ସେ ଗୀତରେ ଗାଇଦଉଥିବ। So they express and they are very overtly express, and they say that the rich cultural treasures that is that is stolen by the oppressors. ଏଇଥିରେ ଗୋଟେ କଥା ମୁଁ କହିବାକୁ ଚାହିଁବି ଆମର ଆମର ସେ ଯୋଉଠି ଆମର ଟ୍ରାଇବାଲ କମ୍ୟୁନିଟି ମାନେ ଠିକଲି ପପୁଲେଟେଡ ସେ ଏରିଆ ଗୁଡାକ ଏବେ ବି ଡେଭଲପ କରାହେଇ ନାହିଁ। କିନ୍ତୁ ଆପଣ ମାନେ ଜାଣିକି ବହୁତ ଆଶ୍ଚର୍ଯ୍ୟ ହେବେ ଚାଇନା ଗଭର୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ତାର ଯୋଉ ଟ୍ରାଇବାଲ କଲଚରାଲ କଣ ତାକୁ ଟୁରିଜିମ କଲଚରାଲ ଟୁରିଜିମ ସେଟାକୁ ସେ ଡେଭଲପ କରିକି ସେ ସେଥିରୁ ଗୋଟେ ବଢିଆ ରେଭିନ୍ୟୁ ଜେନେରେଟ କରିପାରୁଛି। କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମର ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ଆମର ଟ୍ରାଇବାଲ କଲଚରାଲ ଟୁରିଜିମକୁ ଆମେ ବିଲକୁଲ ଡେଭଲପ କରିପାରୁନାହିଁ। ଏପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ବି ଆମେ ଡେଭଲପ କରିପାରେ ନାହିଁ। ସେମିତି କିଛି ଇଣ୍ଡିଜେନସ୍ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସେସ୍ ଅଛି ଗୋଟେ ଗୋଟେ ଟ୍ରାଇବାଲ କମ୍ୟୁନିଟିରେ ଗୋଟେ ଆଇ ଥିଙ୍କ 2007 ମସିହାରେ ଅଷ୍ଟ୍ରେଲିଆର ଜଣେ ସାଇଣ୍ଟିଷ୍ଟ ସେ ଗୋଟେ ପୁରା ମିଡିଆ ଡାକିକି କ୍ଲେମ କଲେ ଯେ ଜଳା ପୋଡା ଜଳି ଯାଇଥିବ ଯୋଉଠି ସେଇ ଜାଗାରେ ତମେ ଇମିଡିଏଟଲି ଯୋଉଟା ମାନେ ପ୍ୟୁରିଫାଏଡ ହେଇନଥିବ ଯୋଉ ମହୁ ତାକୁ ଲଗେଇଦେଲେ ତମେ ଭଲ ହେଇଯିବ। ମାନେ ସେ ପୁରା ପ୍ରେସକୁ ଡାକିକି ଏଇଟା ଆନାଉନ୍ସ କଲେ। ବଟ୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ ୱାଜ an age-old practice in tribal community of Odisha. So what is the difference? The difference is that the so-called scientist, he is a media smart person, and here the tribals, they are media shy people. So that does not mean that there are many indigenous practices. And if we can harvest more, if we can explore more that indigenous practices, then you can be you can be a top country, you can be a superpower country taking into account that Gyan Parampara, that indigenous practice of Indian knowledge system. So you can say the cultural heritage, okay, that becomes destroyed because foreign culture is imposed upon them. So the upper caste also oppresses that the Dalits would never produce a culture of their own. କାରଣ ଗୋଟେ ତା ନିଜର ଗୋଟେ ରହିବ ନାହିଁ। ତେଣୁ ତାର ଯାହା କଲଚର ଅଛି ତାକୁ ଅପ୍ରେସ କରିଦିଆଯାଉ, ଡିହ୍ୟୁମାନାଇଜ କରିଦିଆଯାଉ ଦଳିତ ମାନଙ୍କୁ। So you can by that you can see there is manipulation of culture, okay, to dehumanize the the Dalit culture. Even today also, today also they are oppressed, they are deprived, and they have neither. They do not have money because financially they are not sound enough. They have no money, even they have no power, even they have no political clout to make their voices heard, to exhibit, to exercise their rights. So you can say that they are voiceless and choiceless people. So you can, it is the upper caste, they are determining what they will think, what the Dalit will think, what the Dalit, how the Dalit will live, how the Dalit will act in the society. It all determines by the upper caste society only. So they have, because of that, they have their dominance over the Dalits and convince the world that the so-called caste people are indeed low people. So eye washing is there. We just saw how to show we show the world how we want to show the Dalits to be seen by the members of the world. So This is how you can say their culture gets affected and they are also affected in that way. ଯୋଉଥିପାଇଁ କି ଆମେ କଣ କରୁଛେ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଦଲିତ କଲଚର ଉପରେ ଆମେ ପଢିବା ଦଲିତ କଲଚର ପିଲାମାନେ ଗୋଟେ କଥା ଖାଲି ମୁଁ କହିବି ତାଙ୍କର ଡ୍ରମିଂ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ଅଛି ଡ୍ରମ୍ ବିଟିଂ ଯୋଉଟା ଆମେ ତାକୁ କହୁଛେ ସେ ଯୋଉ ଡ୍ରମ୍ ବିଟିଂ ବା ଆମେ କହିବା ସେଟା ତାଙ୍କର ଫୋକଲୋର ର ପାର୍ଟ ଇଟ ଇଜ ଏ ପାର୍ଟ ଅଫ ଦ୍ୟାଟ ତାଙ୍କର ସିଙ୍ଗିଂ ତାଙ୍କର ଡ୍ରମିଂ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରମିଂ dancing and they have their own way of perceiving that if that can be developed then that can be we can think of an alternative communication like the third theater ଯେମିତି ଗୋଟେ ଆପଣ ମାନେ ଦେଖିଥିବେ ପପେଟ ଶୋ ହୁଏ ପପେଟ ଶୋ ରେ କିଏ ଦେଖିଛନ୍ତି ଆପଣ ମାନେ ପପେଟ ଶୋ ରେ ଦିଟା କଣ୍ଢେଇ ତାଙ୍କର ପଛପଟେ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରିଙ୍ଗ ଦିଟା ଥିବ ଦୌଡିଥିବ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଇଏ ହଉଥିବ ସେ କଥା କହୁଥିବ ହାଭ୍ ୟୁ ସିନ୍ ଏନିୱାନ୍ ଆପଣ ମାନେ କିଏ ଦେଖିଛନ୍ତି ପପେଟ ଶୋ କେମିତି ହୁଏ କଣ୍ଢେଇ ନାଚ ଯାହାକୁ କୁହାଯାଏ କଣ୍ଢେଇ ନାଚ so that can be spread and you can know that this can be developed as a third theater and alternative media and by which we can spread the Dalit culture and you will see in the that if we will encash them and we can promote them then definitely we will march towards equality justice self-respect and harmony okay ଢେମ୍ସା ନାଚର ଆପଣ ତାର ଡ୍ରମ ବିଟ ରେ କିଏ ଜଣେ କୁହନ୍ତୁ ଯିଏ କି ରହିଯିବ ମାନେ ତାର ଗୋଡ ନ ଉଠିକି ରହିଯିବ ସମସ୍ତେ କିଏ କେମିତି ନାଚିବ ତାଙ୍କ ଭଳି ଏକ୍ସପର୍ଟାଇଜ ନଥାଇପାରେ କିନ୍ତୁ everybody definitely they will move their body they will move their uh, feet so this is so we can it is not all that is bad in the Dalit community we have to give importance in the Dalit song, folklore, Dalit drumming, dance pattern, and singing, and Dalit wisdom and technology, because their culture is a part of technological development, and we can take them for their livelihood and we have to hurt them more and more. Any decision we cannot take. I cannot take the decisions on their behalf. Rather, they must come to the decision table to make the optimum use of the natural resources and and they are very eco-friendly. There is no doubt about it. That will lead to a sustainable developed world. Okay. Any doubt? Anyone? Oh my God.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hmm.
Ma'am, you said
Hmm.
there is no aggressiveness and competitiveness among the tribals, Dalits.
Hmm. Hmm.
But we can see in Manipur, cooking meti fighting is happening.
No, no. You see, in our Malkanagiri hill, there is Bonda tribe. Okay. ଆପଣ ମାନେ
Yes, ma'am.
ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି ନା ନାଇଁ ମାଲକାନଗିରି ହିଲ୍ ରେ ବଣ୍ଡା ଟ୍ରାଇବ ଅଛନ୍ତି ସେମାନେ ବଣ୍ଡା ଟ୍ରାଇବ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଆପଣ ଟିକେ ଲାଗିଲେ ସେ ତାଙ୍କ ଧନୁ ତୀରରେ ବିଷ ଲଗେଇକି ରଖିଥିବେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ସେଇଠି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ମାରିଦେବେ କିନ୍ତୁ କାହିଁକି ସେ ଆଗ୍ରେସନ କୁ ଗଲା ସେଇଟାକୁ ବୁଝିବାକୁ ପଡିବ କାହିଁକି ଜଣେ ଆଗ୍ରେସନ କୁ ଯାଉଛି କାହିଁକି ନା ତମେ ତାଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ଓମେନ ମାନେ ସେମାନଙ୍କର ଅପର ବଡି ପାର୍ଟ ରେ କିଛି ଡ୍ରେସ ନଥିବ ସବୁ ମାଳି ବଡ ସାଇଜ ବେକରୁ ପୁରା ନାହି ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ତାଙ୍କର ମାଳିରେ ଖାଲି ଘୋଡେଇ ହେଇଥିବ ଅପର ପାର୍ଟ ବଡିଟା ତଳେ ଗୋଟେ ତାଙ୍କର ହ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡ ଓଭେନ ତାଙ୍କର ନିଜ ପାୱାର ଲୁମ ର ଗୋଟେ କ୍ଲୋଥ ଟେ 2.5 ମିଟର ଖଣ୍ଡେ ତାକୁ ଖାଲି ଘୋଡେଇ ହେଇଥିବ ଆମେ ମାନେ ଯାଇକି ଯେତେବେଳେ ଦେଖିବା ଆମ ମାନେ ଦେଖି ତାଙ୍କୁ ହସିବା ହସିଲେ ଦେଖି ହ୍ୟୁମିଲେଟେଡ ତେଣୁ ସେଇ ପାର୍ଟଟାକୁ ଆମକୁ ନଜର ଦେଖେଇବାକୁ ହବ ମଣିପୁରରେ ଯୋଉ ହେଇଛି aggression why that aggression is there we have to go to the root cause and when we look into the root cause ଆମେ ତାପରେ ଜାଣିପାରିବା ଯେ ଭୁଲ ଟା କୋଉଠି ଅଛି ଆମେ ଜାଣିପାରିବା ତେଣୁ it is the tribal if at all ଗୋଟେ ଜଣେ सोशियोलोजिस्ट गोटे कहते ଏବେ ତାଙ୍କ ନାଁ ମୁଁ ଭୁଲି ଯାଉଛି ସେ କହୁଥିଲେ ट्राइबल लोक कहते हमको ये नली पहनना आदमी नहीं चाहिए नली पहनना माने पैंट सार्ट पिंधिଥିବା लोक ଆମକୁ ବିଲକୁଲ ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ ଆମେ କଣ କରୁଛେ ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଚାହିଁଲେ ଗୋଟେ ପାହାଡ ଭିତରୁ ପଶିଗଲେ ଜଙ୍ଗଲ ଭିତରୁ ପଶିଗଲେ ତାଙ୍କର ସେମିତି ପାହାଡ ଜଙ୍ଗଲ ଭିତରୁ ପଶିବା ପାଇଁ ଗୋଟେ ରାଇଟ ଟାଇମିଂ ଥାଏ ସେମାନେ ପୂଜା କରିବେ ପୂଜା କଲା ପରେ ସେମାନେ ଯାଇ ଜଙ୍ଗଲ ଭିତରକୁ ପଶିବେ କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମେ ଆମର କିଛି ନ ମାନିକି ମନ ହେଲା ଚାଲିଲେ ସେଟାକୁ ଦେ ଆର୍ ନଟ୍ ଆପ୍ରିସିଏଟିଂ ଦେ ଆର୍ ଭେରି ମାନେ ଦେ ଆର୍ ଭେରି they have tremendous respect for the nature which we do not have ସେମିତି ମଣିପୁରରେ ଯୋଉ ହେଇଥିବ we have to go to the source ପୁରା ମୂଳକୁ ଯାଇକି ଆମେ superficially we cannot pass the statement ଆମେ ଯଦି ମୂଳକୁ ଯିବା ତାହେଲେ ଆମେ ଜାଣିପାରିବା ଇଏ ଗୋଟେ କଥା ଦ୍ୱିତୀୟ କଥା ହେଲା ଯଦି 100 years ଧରିକି ଜଣେ deprived ଥିବ ମୁଁ 2 ଦିନ 4 ଦିନ 6 ଦିନ 8 ଦିନ ଧରି ଖାଇବା ପାଇନଥିବି ମୋ ଆଗରେ ଆପଣ ବସିକି ବିରିୟାନୀ ଖାଉଥିବେ ମୁଁ କଣ କରିବି ମୁଁ I have to snatch I have to satiate my hunger I will snatch definitely ଏମିତି କିଛି ଗୋଟେ reason ଥିବ that we have to look into କିନ୍ତୁ ସେମାନଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ distribution ସେମାନେ they are very peace loving nature loving people ସେମାନେ ଆପଣ ଜାଣନ୍ତୁ ସେମାନେ ଯାଇଥିବେ ଶିକାର କରିବାକୁ ତାଙ୍କର ଯଦି ସେମାନେ ଦେଖିଲେ ଶିକାରରେ ଗୋଟେ ଦେଖିବେ ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରେଗନାଣ୍ଟ ଗୋଟିଏ ସେ ଦଳ ଭିତରେ ଗୋଟିଏ ମେଲ ଅଛି ଆନିମଲ ସେ ତାକୁ ଜମା ମାରିବେନି ସେମିତି ଖାଲି ହାତରେ ଫେରିଆସିବେ ପଛେ ମାରିବେନି କାରଣ ତାକୁ ଯଦି ମାରିଦେବେ ତାଙ୍କର ସେଠି ବଂଶ ବିସ୍ତାର ହେଇପାରିବନି they take into account all these things ତେଣୁକରି ଏଇ ସେମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ଶିକାର କରିବାକୁ ଯାଇଛନ୍ତି ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରେଗନାଣ୍ଟ ଆନିମଲକୁ ସେମାନେ ବିଲକୁଲ ମାରିବେ ନାହିଁ ସେମିତି ଗୋଟିଏ ମେଲ ମେମ୍ବର ଯେ ସେ ଦଳରେ ଅଛି ତାକୁ ମାରିବେ ନାହିଁ they follow certain rules and regulations which usually we do not it's not that we all are of the same type no I will not say in that way but you usually we do not follow these rules but they are very rule following people ମମତା
Ma'am,
ମ୍ୟାଡାମ ଆପଣ କୁହନ୍ତୁ ହୁଁ କହୁନାହାନ୍ତି
basically, hello.
ନା ବର୍ଷା ମ୍ୟାଡାମ କୁହନ୍ତୁ କୁହନ୍ତୁ
Yes, ma'am.
ମ୍ୟାଡାମ
ମାନେ
କୁହନ୍ତୁ
different different ଦଲିସ୍ କମ୍ୟୁନିଟି ଭିତରେ ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ମତଲବ କୌଣସି ଡିସ୍କ୍ରିମିନେସନ ନଥାଏ
ନାଇଁ ନାଇଁ ଶୁଣନ୍ତୁ ସେମିତି ତ ଘରେ ଆମେ 5 ଜଣ ଏକାଠି ରହୁଛୁ ଆମ ଭିତରେ କଣ ଡିସ୍କ୍ରିମିନେସନ ନାହିଁ ଜଣେ କହୁଛି ନାଇଁ ମୁଁ ଏଇଟା ଖାଇବି ଜଣେ କହୁଛି ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଖାଇବି ଜଣେ କହୁଛି ଏଇଟା କିଣିବା ଆଉ ଜଣେ କହୁଛି ଏଇଟା କିଣିବା ସେ ପ୍ରକାର ଡିଫରେନ୍ସିଏସନ ରହିଛି କିନ୍ତୁ ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ଏମିତି କମ୍ୟୁନିଟି କୁ ଧର ମାନେ ମୁଁ କହିବା କଥା ଯଦି ଗୋଟେ କମ୍ୟୁନିଟି ଗୋଟେ ଆ ମାନେ କଣ ମାନେ ଯେମିତି ଗୋଟେ ସମ୍ପ୍ରଦାୟର ହେଇଥିବ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ସମ୍ପ୍ରଦାୟର ହେଇଥିବ ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ କଣ ଗଣ୍ଡଗୋଳ ହଉଥିବ ବଟ ଫାଇନାଲି ଆପଣ ଦେଖିବେ ସେ ୱିଦିନ ଦ କମ୍ୟୁନିଟି ୟୁଜୁଆଲି ଦେ ଡୁ ନଟ୍ ଫାଇଟ୍ ଆଉ ଯଦି କିଛି ହଉଥିବ ଯେମିତି ଆମେ କହୁଛେ ଯୋଉ ଡାହାଣୀ ତ କନସେପ୍ଟ ସେଇଠୁ ଆସିଛି ନା ଏ ଟ୍ରାଇବାଲ କମ୍ୟୁନିଟିରୁ ୱିଚ୍ ହଣ୍ଟିଂ ଯୋଉଟା କୁହାଉଛି ଆମର ଓଡିଶା ଗଭର୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ପ୍ରଥମ ଭାରତରେ ଯିଏକି ୱିଚ୍ ହଣ୍ଟିଂ ପ୍ରିଭେନ୍ସନ ଆକ୍ଟ ପ୍ରଥମ ରାଜ୍ୟ ହିସାବରେ ଓଡିଶା ତାକୁ ନିୟମ ଲଗେଇଥିଲା ତାପରେ ପାଖାପାଖି ଯୋଉ ଆସାମ ଫାସାମ ସିଆଡେ ସବୁ ହେଲା ସେଥିରେ ସେ କଣ ହଉଥିଲା ଯଦି ଆପଣ ସୋର୍ସକୁ ଯିବେ ଦେଖିବେ କାହିଁକି ତାକୁ କଣ କରିବ ନା ଧର ଭାଇଟା ମରିଯାଇଛି ତାର ସ୍ତ୍ରୀ ୱିଡୋ ଅଛି ତାର ଯୋଉ ପ୍ରପର୍ଟି ଅଛି ସେ ପ୍ରପର୍ଟି ଟା ଦିଅରଟେ ପାଇବା ପାଇଁ କି ସେ ଆଶା କରୁଛି ବା କିଏ ଗୋଟେ ପାଇବା ପାଇଁ ଆଶା କରୁଛି କେମିତି ତାକୁ ହଟେଇବ ନା କଣ କହିଦବ ନା ୱିଚ୍ ହଣ୍ଟିଂ ସେ ଡାହାଣୀ ରାତିରେ ଏମିତି ଯାଉଥିଲା ମୁଁ ଯାଇଲି ଲୋକମାନେ ତ ବହୁତ ସରଳ ବିଷୟ ସମସ୍ତେ ତାକୁ ସେମାନେ ବିଶ୍ଵାସ କରିକି ସେ ସେଠୁ ତାକୁ କଣ କରିବେ ତାକୁ ମାରି ଦିଆଯିବ this is how actually the things are happening so we have to go to the source we have to look into the source କୁ ଯାଇକି ଯଦି ଆମେ ଦେଖିବା ତାହେଲେ ଆମେ ଜାଣିପାରିବା ଯେ actually if there is no self interest ଆମେ କହିବା ତ ତାଙ୍କ କଲଚର ଏଗୁଡା ନାହିଁ they are not individualistic they look into the matter why this attitude is there that attitude is there because of the influence because they are influenced ତା ଆମର ଯୋଉ ନନ୍ ଦଳିତ କଲଚର ଇନଫ୍ଲୁଏନ୍ସ ହଉଛି ସାଇନ୍ସ ଆଣ୍ଡ ଟେକ୍ନୋଲୋଜିର ଇନଫ୍ଲୁଏନ୍ସ ତାଙ୍କର କଣ ଆଗରୁ ଡିଜେ ଥିଲା ବାହାଘର ସେଗୁଡା ବାଜା ବଜେଇକି ସେମାନେ ଯାଉଥିଲେ? ବିଲକୁଲ ନାହିଁ। କିନ୍ତୁ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଦେ ହାଭ୍ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସ so they have practiced that. There is cultural amalgamation, cultural influence is there. ତେଣୁକରି ସେଇ ଏଥିରେ କଣ ହଉଥିବ as such ସେମାନେ ସେଇ ଟାଇପ ର ନୁହନ୍ତି କାହିଁକି ନା ତାଙ୍କର ସେମାନଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରତି ପରିବାରର ମାନେ ସେମାନେ ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ତାଙ୍କର ଆନିମଲ ଥିବ ତାକୁ ସେମାନେ ପୂଜା କରିବେ। ତେଣୁ ସେମାନେ ସେ ଆନିମଲକୁ ବିଲକୁଲ ମାରିବେ ନାହିଁ। ଏମିତି ତ ହେଇକି ଗୋଟେ ସ୍ପେସିସ୍ ଧ୍ୱଂସ ବି ପାଇବନି। ସେ ତାର ବଂଶ ବିସ୍ତାର କରି କରି ଚାଲିଥିବ। କାରଣ କିଛି ତ ପରିବାର ଅଛି ତାର ଟୋଟେମିକ ଆନିମଲ ହିସାବରେ ତାକୁ ମାରିବନି। ତେଣୁକରି ଏମିତି କରିକି ସେମାନେ ସଷ୍ଟେନେବିଲିଟି ଉପରେ ବହୁତ ଗୁରୁତ୍ୱ ଦିଅନ୍ତି। ଆରାରୁଟ ଆଣିବାକୁ ଯିବେ ଆରାରୁଟ ର ବା ଯୋଉ ଶିଆଳ ଲତା ଗୁଡାକ ଯୋଉ କାଟିବେ ସେଗୁଡାରେ ଯୋଉଗୁଡା କଅଁଳିଆ ଥିବ ତାକୁ ଛାଡି ଦେଇକି ଆସିବେ ତାକୁ କାଟିକି ଆଣିବେନି ଜମା ସେମାନେ ଆଣିବେନି। ତାକୁ ସେମିତି ଆରାରୁଟ ସଂଗ୍ରହ କରିବେ କିଛି ଛାଡି ଦେଇକି ଆସିବେ କାରଣ ସେଥିରୁ ପୁଣି ପ୍ରଡ୍ୟୁସ ହବ ପୁଣି ସିଏ ପରେ ଆସି କଲେକ୍ଟ କରିବ ପୁଣି ତାକୁ ବିକିକି କିଛି ପଇସା ପାଇବ ତେଣୁ ଦେ ଡୁ ନଟ୍ ବିଲିଭ୍ ଇନ୍ କମ୍ପ୍ଲିଟ ଏକ୍ସର୍ସନ ଅଫ୍ ଏନିଥିଙ୍ଗ। ସେଟା ସେମାନଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ ଗୁଡ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସେସ୍ ବୋଲି ଆପଣ କହିପାରିବେ। ଆଉ ଏମିତି କଲଚରାଲ ଇନଫ୍ଲୁଏନ୍ସ ଟେକ୍ନୋଲୋଜିର ଇନଫ୍ଲୁଏନ୍ସ ଆମେ ତ ବହୁତ କଥା ମାନେ ଯୋଉଟା ମାନେ ଆମେ ମାନେ ବହୁତ କଥା କରିପାରୁଛେ ସେଇ ଇନଫ୍ଲୁଏନ୍ସରେ କଣ ହଉଥିବ ୟୁଜୁଆଲି they do not interfere. They are peace loving. They are nature loving people.
And the conversion to Christianity is taking the peak among them.
That's true.
Should it be
I do
encouraged
accept.
or should it be stopped?
That is you are asking me a political question. I cannot pass any
No, ma'am.
comment.
Like it was
Rather,
striking in mind from long time. That's why I asked.
no, it has to
Although
be
India is a secular
definitely,
country,
definitely government had must interfere in the process if this is a fact, if this is really happening. Government has to interfere. You see, when a person is when a person is not so intelligent to know about the thing. Okay, when a person is deprived of getting a good meal per day, when a person is deprived of getting a good cloth, suppose you will provide him the good cloth, good medicine, good food in the name of some God, then definitely they are simple, they are gullible, they will think that yes, their God is providing them, so let's embrace that. But nowadays, I think it is not happening because people are a little bit more conscious. They are also conscious about their rights. So it might not be as it was earlier. ଆଗରୁ
yeah.
ଯେମିତି ଯୋଉ ପ୍ରକାରରେ ହଉଥିଲା ଏବେ ଆଇ ଥିଙ୍କ ସେଇ ପ୍ରକାରରେ ହଉନଥିବ ଆଇ ହୋପ ସୋ yet I am not sure. I hope so. This must not be the case. ଆଗରୁ ତ ଏଇ ସବୁ ବହୁତ ହଉଥିଲା କାରଣ ସେଇ ସବୁ ଜାଗାକୁ କେହି ବି ଯାଉନଥିଲେ ତେଣୁ ଯେହେତୁ କେହି ଯାଉନଥିଲେ ତେଣୁ ସେଠି ସେମାନଙ୍କ ସବୁ
Okay.
ତ କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଭିତରେ ବି ଆମେ ଦଳିତ ମାନଙ୍କୁ କଣ ରଖିଛେ କି କାଷ୍ଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଭିତରେ ବି ଆମେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଆଉଟକାଷ୍ଟ କରିଦେଇଛେ ତେଣୁ
Yeah.
ଆଉଟକାଷ୍ଟ କରିକି ଆମେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ପୁରା ଉଁ ମାନେ ତାଙ୍କୁ କଣ କରିଦେଲେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ସବୁଥିରୁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଗୋଟେ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ଜଗନ୍ନାଥ ମନ୍ଦିର ଭିତରକୁ ଯିବା ପାଇଁ ତାକୁ ପରମିସନ ନାହିଁ gradually things are taking place gradually we are becoming inclusive and we are including we have a growing realization that they are humans just like all of us so they have that fundamental right but initially they have struggled like anything
Yeah.
it has to be ଆପଣ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ even government ବି ସେଇ head ରେ government ବି ସେଇ ମାନେ equality to bring equality government is taking so many equity measures so that they will bring equality in the society but still they are deprived of many things still they are though government is providing all the opportunities to them still they are deprived still as you say that there are some exceptionals taking the advantage and misutilizing the advantage. That is very few people are doing that. So we cannot and we should not generalize it. Right?
Okay.
Because if our intention is pure that we are working for a cause, so I think we should not um, look into that. We should not give that much importance on all these things. But that is also a part of the reality. But you are saying that is also a part of the reality that I do. ମୁଁ କାଲି କିନ୍ତୁ ଏଇ ବ୍ଲକ ର ଗୋଟେ ରହିଗଲା ମୁଁ ସେଇଟା କାଲି ଟିକେ ପଢେଇବି ତାପରେ ମୁଁ ନେକ୍ସଟ ବ୍ଲକକୁ ଇଏ କରିବି ହେଲା ଆଉ କାହାର
Okay,
କିଛି
ma'am.
ଡାଉଟ ଅଛି କିଛି ବି ପଚାରିବେ ନା ରଖିଦବା ହ୍ୟାଲୋ
Hello. Ma'am, ମୋର ଆଉ doubt ନାହିଁ.
ଓକେ ଆପଣ
Thank you, ma'am.
ବୁଝିପାରୁଛନ୍ତି ନା ନାଇଁ ସେଇଟା ହଉଛି ବହୁତ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ବୁଝିପାରୁଛନ୍ତି ନା ନାଇଁ
Yes, ma'am.
ବୁଝିବାଟା ହଉଛି ବହୁତ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ହେଲା ହଉ ଠିକ
Okay.
ଅଛି ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ
Welcome.
stay happy and healthy thank you
You too, ma'am.